It wasn't even rain when I was heading in.
Yeah, spitting.
Going to the Cardinals game tonight. Make sure if you are going to the Cardinals game, you are there before 6:57 in your seats because Alexa Reardon and the Stanton Singers from Stanton Elementary out in Fenton are doing the national anthem tonight. So we're very happy about that. Yeah, it is exciting. So then we get to hang out and watch some baseball. And I'm going to a game. You know, I was thinking about this. So this is crazy, but I'm not sure I went to more than one baseball game last year. That was because of my, my health situation mainly.
Right.
I don't know if I've only gone to one baseball game since I was like in 6th grade.
Wow.
Because I love the game so much. So I'm going to 2 games this weekend, tonight
Good for you.
and on Sunday. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun in the next couple of hours for sure. We got the Roundtable coming up. I will introduce the panelists, but I do want to mention that we'll have Paul Hall on entertainment in the next hour. Also, Frank Cusumano will take us into the weekend as the Cardinals are back home playing the Red Sox tonight. The Blues are out of it now with 4 games left, 6 points out of the playoff spot. STL City is in Dallas this weekend. Of course, we'll get an update on the Masters. Dan Reardon's going to join on the Masters. Brian Kilmeade, a rare Friday appearance, and then our friend Tim Sommer talking music this afternoon. On the Roundtable this afternoon, Ed Rhode is here with us. He is a Democrat consultant and longtime Reardon Roundtable fan and veteran. How are you, Ed?
Great. Good to see you.
I got to make sure I got you on the right mics because everything's kind of changed around from what it used to be. David Barklage is here, Republican political strategist. Hello, David. How are you?
Well, I was good until I found out that you had this progressive activist on the other side who's long been an advocate for creepy things, but that's all right.
Ed's a good guy. He's a good dude. We go way back. Let me start with the war here. And, I just saw J.D. Vance at the top of the hour. I'm going to talk with Brian Kilmeade about this. I don't know if you did either of you guys read the New York Times reporting by Maggie Haberman and the other dude a couple of days ago? Because it went into great detail, and apparently this is an excerpt from a book that has been written, but it went into great detail into what happened in the 24 hours, 36 hours leading up to the strike 6 weeks ago. And literally, there was really nobody in the room that thought it was a great idea to do it, and they were throwing flags. Now, their job was to kind of inform the president, give their opinions. They deferred to him. He's the commander-in-chief. But look, even, General Kane raised this issue. And I mentioned this yesterday, that this has not been discussed in the media to my knowledge, but one of the warnings that Trump had was that this type of military operation will put a pretty big dent into our, missile arsenal. So that's an aspect of it. But again, they all deferred to the president. So I don't, have a lot of hope, Ed. We've all been around the geopolitics of Iran for a long time. I don't know how you can even begin to negotiate with a regime like this. So I'm not very hopeful about this trip to Pakistan with J.D. Vance this weekend. Your thoughts?
I have zero confidence that J.D. Vance is going to come back with a good deal. I just think this president, I just don't understand what he's doing. I mean, he's a guy who campaigned on no more foreign wars. We had no reason to go into Iran. Last summer, we dropped the bombs on them to get rid of their nuclear program, which apparently, we did. And then here we come back 6 months later, and we are starting a war. I just don't understand, why we're there. We have no end game, and I'm concerned where this is leading us because, obviously we have, nothing going on now, but, what happens when, Israel continues to bomb their neighbors, and then they continue to hit back. I mean, how does this end? I don't see how this ends.
I don't either, David. So I'm really struggling because I do think that there is a lot of risk here. Well, there's military risk, there's political risk, but on the military front, look, this has been an exceptionally well-executed operation as far as we know it. Now, the thing is that Iran has to know that they can run out the clock as much as they want, right? They're going to do everything they can to keep the straits closed and to make Trump look bad. They're actually declaring victory, of course, because the internet's shut down, so their people don't really know. But this is a regime. Let's go back to what Ed said, and I understand that there are some questions, and I still have some questions about the end goal here, too. But this is a regime that killed maybe up to 40,000 people 2 months ago, and it's outrageous. And you don't have the people in Hollywood that are wearing yellow ribbons for the Iranian people who were slaughtered by this regime and continue to be.
Well, one, I strongly beg to differ with my colleague from the left. So if anybody knows out there, Ed and I'm not going to claim he's my friend because I don't want to hurt his reputation, but he's one of the best guys I know and a very honest broker. But one, by definition, it's not war. Just because you go out and bomb some people isn't meet the definition of war, and so he hasn't been getting wars. What he's been trying to do is to stop wars by very decisive action. But I'll point something out. the reason that regime has been in power for 49 years is because no one has stepped up and done what needed to be done. And so I would argue we win either way, because every day we bomb, we set back their capacity to govern, their capacity to wage war. And so whether or not we achieve what our goal was, we will at least set them back and stunt them, because, look, in American history, there's only been 3 intrusions into our embassies. Twice was in Iran, and once was Iranian agitators in Pakistan. They have violated international law. There's 45 documented or 47 documented attacks on Americans, and sometimes killing hundreds over the years. Enough's enough. And the point is, look, he struck minimum casualties. No casualty is good. But I think the end game is very simple, that he is eroding their ability to fund all these terrorist regimes, to build the capacity that they were, nuclear weapons. I mean, he has done so much to Iran that no other president, including my beloved Ronald Reagan, even thought about doing. So to that regard, I don't know how we're losing it.
I don't think we're losing it, just to make clear here. But what Ed said about the uranium is important. You can do a lot of things here. You can bomb the bridges. You can take things out. But if you don't have the uranium, which is apparently very well hidden and it's somewhat capable, I think that's not a success, because you wanted to go in and do that. But look, the administration, a lot of people have called this a war. I understand you're trying to play with semantics there a little bit. But look, you're a political guy, David Barklage, so you can argue the case that you did. And I agree with you on that, by the way, because it's a horrible regime. It's going to make the world safer. We can agree on that. But the political implications of this are fraught with a lot of risk for Republicans. President Trump had to know that. It was a courageous move to make, considering all those people in the room were warning him about the pushback and the fallout.
Look, he is not governed from that viewpoint. I mean, he has taken on the sacred cows. He has taken on the establishment. It's his whole mantra. I don't think this is anything different. I mean, on Ukraine, he had to be convinced that we should support him, that it was worth it. And we're playing with Russia. But, a lot of people want to ignore that. I think he is a very simple, very obvious approach to international politics. What's good for the United States, he's for. What's not, he's against. He went into Venezuela, took out a guy that the Biden administration had on their wanted criminal list, but no one would do anything about it. Venezuelans were the pipeline to major drugs in America, killing 100,000 people a year on fentanyl. I mean, he did that in one night, yet, we're now criticizing him for bombing the worst terrorist regime in modern world history.
But look, I'm not criticizing him for that. I don't want to be misunderstood. What I'm saying is we were given a 4 to 6 week window. We're past that right now. We have, to Ed's point, I would be dishonest if I would sit here and say, if there was a Democrat president that last summer told us that we obliterated and we took out the nuclear program and 6 months later came back and had to do it again, I think I'd have something to say about that. But what you know is that there are people out there that aren't dialed into the geopolitics, that are filling up their gas tank. They're seeing inflation numbers that came in today that are high, and they're saying, wait a second, we didn't vote for this, right? We didn't vote for foreign wars. I don't think the administration has made enough of a strong case to the American people. You did, David. I think you did better than maybe they've been doing. But you understand that independents and voters that are going to swing these elections, they're not too happy with this right now.
But you know what? That's the kind of president I want. Besides that, there's a lot of people in Texas, Oklahoma, Alaska, a whole lot of other places that are making money on $100 plus barrels of oil. And, I just think that this president is very clear. And look, he's convincing. I mean, he talks about ending their civilization. I think he does it in such a credible way, and everybody's scared, like, how can you say that? Well, you can't negotiate unless you're negotiating in a way that people believe that you're willing to pull that card.
That turned a lot of people off, that particular Truth Social post, but he was kind of speaking in their language to a certain extent. The hyperbole, for me, is just worn off having an effect because there's so much of it.
Well, I have to say, and I agree with David, this is a very terrible regime. They make me sick. Secondly, I will say I actually think that Trump's ability to think and act outside the box is actually a good thing sometimes, right? I mean, to keep people off.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing that, this is the way it's always been done. I'm okay pushing boundaries on some things, and I think that's okay. The problem that I have is I feel like we're worse off than we were 6 weeks ago. That's the part that gets me. I mean, now we have the Strait of Hormuz that was open. Now it's, I guess, partially open. So again, unless we're getting the uranium, which I don't think.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, how are you going to get that? How are you going to have any kind of
maybe that's
sane
what's being
talks?
negotiated behind doors.
Oh, maybe.
But think of the Strait of Hormuz, the Strait for a minute. The Europeans, our allies, have absolutely failed to step up when it's their interest at heart. And I think he exposed, again, a multi-decade policies of the Europeans wanting, taking, but never giving back or sharing. And to that regard, I'm glad that Trump is sort of holding them out, trying to get America's interests first. And so I think there's a lot of good things that will come from it, but I understand. I mean, when you hear everything, the criticism of the war is, oh, my God, he didn't plan this enough. He didn't do this enough. Yet we're prosecuting successfully a major war against a formidable power. No one is really thinking past what they're reading by the propaganda from the left. But I think your reservations are fair. It's just simply that I think the what will happen here is it strengthens America's energy. It will decapitate a regime and maybe lead to change. We may end up with all the nuclear materials and ending them as a threat. But guys, remember this. Who was keeping the Russians afloat in Ukraine? All our allies were saying America needs to step up there. Well, we're bombing the hell out of the guys that were providing the drones and things that were making that a competitive war. And so I would argue Trump's move here is helping that and the Europeans as well.
Part of his challenge, too, David, is I think he's been woefully bad with articulating a message and what we're doing. I mean, he's like changing this position like during the same press conference. I mean, to Mark's point, I thought you did a pretty good job of articulating this, but he has just been bad articulating.
I wish he would have done the speech he did last week, sooner than that. But I also sense, David, in fairness here, I think there's an indication that the president himself is getting a little impatient here, right? And I don't know what that manifests itself, but I think that the threat from last weekend, I don't really believe that he was going to take out their civilization. But I do think he's concerned about the timetable here, and that's legitimate considering, the summer's going to be here before we know it and then right into the midterms.
But isn't it great that he is? Because other presidents have gotten us in wars that we've been in for a decade, Republican and Democrat. But I'll go back to one other thing. Ed really hit it right. This is the first president that I have polled, that I know anybody's polled, that has had to poll of the popularity of what he says versus what he does. And what he does, he's typically in the 60s. What he says, he's like in the 30s.
Yep.
His speech is a challenge to everybody.
That's an interesting point. All right, David Barklage is here, Republican consultant, Ed Rhode, Democrat consultant. We're coming back. It's a Reardon Roundtable on a Friday.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
If you are leaving downtown, 70 is a little bit slow past 94, and then between 79 and K. Lines up again, although it's mainly moderate volume, Lake St. Louis Boulevard, slowing at Wentzville. Eastbound 40 slowing at Big Bend. Westbound has some moderate volume right around Hampton, and then it's slowing again Highway N out through the 64 and 70 split. On the Illinois side, we've got a jam, but it's eastbound 70 in the roadwork right at 64, and then eastbound 64, some moderate volume out at 157. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
So how would you gauge the start of this traffic day? Because we've had a couple of busy ones, haven't we, this week?
Yes, it's weird.
Yeah.
So right now we're okay.
We got a Cardinals game tonight. Don't forget about that.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
I always kind of, when I talk about Susan Ward, I say, I hope you don't need her help because she's a divorce attorney and that can be a very difficult situation. But she is the leader of a family law firm here in St. Louis. They're in Des Peres, right near 270 in Manchester. Beautiful office that they moved into last May. And she's here with a ton of experience in the area of, family law. Divorce and dissolution, that's obviously the thing that comes to mind. But a lot of issues that are related to children, including child support and modifications to orders. Even domestic partnerships and domestic violence is something that they handle at Susan's website. So the best way, I think, maybe even just to do a little research on her is go to her website, which is stlfamilylaw.com. There is a confidential consultation form. You can even can read, there's been a couple of changes to the laws recently that have affected people who are divorced. There's a couple of blog posts up there about that. She's also very, very, informed on all those issues that could relate to your case. So contact Susan if you need help. And she will tell you, don't put off that contact. That's only going to hurt you in the long run. 314-783-9400, STLFamilyLaw.com, Susan L. Ward.
Did you know replacing old vinyl windows with more vinyl windows might not be the best choice? Hi, it's Kim, and I'm here to tell you about Infinity from Marvin Windows, because these fiberglass windows, they're energy efficient, they're beautiful, and they're custom built to fit your home perfectly. The team at Lakeside Renovation and Design just makes the process so easy. I love the fact that they even offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. Look, if you're tired of drafts, high energy bills, or maybe hard to open windows, now's the time to upgrade. Visit windowsbylakeside.com to schedule your free consultation today.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group, as they show you how to create a worry-free retirement. It's Tuesday, April 28th at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30. Here are Thomas and Bob with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and would like to know how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the investment strategy that gives you market growth while avoiding the market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get your free personalized retirement income plan? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free and have a worry-free retirement? If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw. It's at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, April 28th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
The Mark Reardon Show is St. Louis conservative.
All right, we got Ed Rhode and David Barklage on the Roundtable panel this afternoon. Brian Kilmeade's coming up at 5 o'clock for a rare Friday appearance. We'll get a Masters update from Dan Reardon as well. Scotty Scheffler did not have a great day on the course day. Rory continues to roll at the top of the leaderboard. So Ed and David, you might not be as caught up on this. I kind of caught this yesterday because Greg Keller, our fellow Roundtable panelist, was highlighting this in his unique Greg Keller way on Twitter. But Ed, maybe before I start reading this, Sable Campbell, who is that relating to the mayor or her father?
That's Vervis Jones's ex-wife. I guess it would be the stepmom of former Mayor Tashara Jones.
Okay, so he's moving, and Tashara actually posts something on social media about the house, right? And Sable Campbell comes and says, hey, here's an update. Normally I don't have, but I have to respond to this. No, ma'am, let's tell the truth about this situation. Your daddy is leaving St. Louis for good. One of two reasons. You, the daughter, want to be his wife, not ever respecting his boundaries, and him not knowing how to place boundaries with your dysfunctional, feeling entitled life. The reason I divorced him after 21 years. Now his girlfriend and cash cow is heading to jail for fraud and lying on a PPE loan information. He is certainly not innocent. Neither are you on these issues. Your names are just not there. And this kind of goes on and on and on. It gets a little, salacious at times. And then she calls her a piece of S. And she goes, this house is listed because he probably feels guilty and trying to maybe recoup some of the money so he can assist in helping pay the $1.7 million that PPE wants back for fraud and the $98,000 you're being sued for. So she didn't really hold back on that, did she, Ed?
No, there's some real weirdo stuff going on in that message there. Yeah, I mean, all this stuff is stuff that we had, heard about and speculated about in political circles, Democratic political circles for a long time. And, yeah, she just kind of laid it out there, like, for everyone to see. It was very, very jarring to read.
I don't know if it has any implications because Tashara's gone. Maybe it's a little bit more of an insider politics thing. But, if Jane were here, she'd, of course, call him Virus Jones because that's her favorite nickname. David, you know anything about this or any thoughts about it? Because, look, is Tashara even relevant anymore?
Not
Probably
relevant,
not,
no.
right?
No, in fact, there's so much to talk about what's happening now and moving forward. It's almost a shame to waste discussion on how crazy we get reinforced to what we actually had, and now we just get reinforcement of that. So I'm more interested in what's going to happen next because it always seems to be worse than we.
Right. Well, all right. Well, let's talk about something that might happen next because a week ago I was on this show. I got home, and I don't usually pop around on Twitter, when I get home on a Friday night, but for whatever reason I was, and I saw that at 6 p.m., right after I left this radio station to head home downtown, there was a shooting in Soulard, and someone was killed. And then There was another shooting, and then there was another shooting, and this went on the whole weekend. There were like 8 shootings. Here is the flack for the STLPD, Mitch McCoy.
Our officers and detectives are also incredibly busy along with our crime lab. We are in the process now of assessing all of this and still trying to piece together exactly what happened in all of these incidents. Everything appears to be isolated. It appears to be contained within certain altercations that occurred.
Isolated. I don't even know how to respond to that. But look, if it wasn't for the situation in Iran and a couple other things in the news cycle, I think this would have made some national news, because here we are like a mini Chicago with gunfights in not broad daylight, but before the sun goes down in very highly populated areas near downtown.
Mark, there were over 100 casings on the ground, right? This is a serious situation. I mean, we're lucky more people weren't killed.
Very lucky.
And the scary thing for me is, I think we're lucky because I think this could be happening every weekend. And the thing that's really scary is when the cops responded, we don't have enough cops in the city of St. Louis, okay? If the cops say, hey, guys, we need some backup here, there's no backup coming. That's a problem. That's a real problem we have in the city.
What does the morale have to be like here? Now, I'm not going to put all this on Kara because this existed beforehand, and she was handed the tornado, but we're not getting – it's Groundhog Day. Every freaking week we talk about this, and nothing ever gets done.
Well, look, I'm not gonna let you go on that one because not the mayor – I don't remember her being anything but literally a defund the police.
Kara?
For years.
Right.
And so I don't think she gave any helping hand. And if you are a civil service worker constantly being condemned in front of crowds that could turn violent on you and kill your brothers in uniform, I think it affects your attitude.
Absolutely.
The fact that they didn't want to fund them or give them proper equipment for safety or anything else goes to it. The fact the state had to take them over and that transition, the fact that you've got some of that same management and bunker mentality that's transferred to the state, it takes time to change. So I think that we found out that when we lost a prosecutor, Kim Gardner was elected versus when Gabe Gore was appointed and then started actually putting people in jail, that you can make a difference in crime. And I think we have the prosecutor that does it now. I think the police force is going to take some time to repair the damage that was done constantly by administration of haters.
The prosecutors all, I think, have been encouraging. Melissa Price Smith, Gabe, the U.S. attorney, all of that, and they seem to be coordinating and working together. So I think they're doing everything possible, and that gives the cops on the street a little more confidence because, look, for a certain amount of time they were making arrests, and who knows what was happening. They knew that these guys wouldn't be charged, and then they see them on the streets again, right, Ed?
That's right, and I think the prosecutors are working well together, not only the Gabe and Melissa Price Smith, but also with the Attorney General, Catherine Hanaway, and the U.S. Attorney. I think they're all working together, and they're all, putting the bad guys away. Even Melissa Price Smith has a second grand jury in St. Louis County to move
she
more
talked about
people
that a couple
through.
of weeks ago, right?
Again, the problem is we don't have enough cops, okay? Here's the frustrating part for me. Last year, Kara Spencer ran on a platform of adding 300 new police officers, okay? Once she got into office, we've never heard anything more about that. And the local media has not held her accountable to that campaign platform. That bothers me, okay? We need more cops. If you look at the number of cops that we have, I mean, if you take out the cops that are, are on vacation or injured or we're top-heavy with white shirts, we only have a couple hundred guys that are actually on the street.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
rather
we're talking
staggering.
districts with 4 cops for an entire district. That is very dangerous for not only the cops, for the citizens. And like I said before, if there's an issue and the cops say we need backup, there's nobody coming to help these guys.
Well, that's why we've seen some of these street things break out, even in, Holly Hills where Sue and I used to live in that neighborhood, because they know that they have no resources, right? These guys, the bad guys, the kids, they know what they can get away with.
Mark, I think you have a little bit of a bunker mentality along with everybody else here as an outsider looking in. The fact that Kara has not kept that promise, which is absolutely critical to functioning. We are sort of ignoring it because of how bad Tashara was. And so my challenge to you is that I think if you forgot about Tashara a moment and looked at what Kara has done today, for example, I remember when the tornado hit, how she stood up and took responsibility, saying that next time it happens, I'll be responsible. But this time it was the last administration. The cops, it's I can't manage the budget because the state police. I don't think she's taken responsibility. She stands up and takes responsibility for the next time. And whether it's the cops or anything else, the idea that they want the cops back after what they've already done to them is ridiculous. I mean, it's beyond reason that a institution that has done so much against them then decries them and claims that they want them back and they want to defund them.
Well, I look, I agree with you on that, and I don't know what the solutions here are, but here's probably a little of what happened. Just reality. She was given probably a little bit more of a honeymoon period because of the tornado, right? And here we are, almost a year later, and her feet have not been held to the fire on the crime issue. Now, some of this is because of resources in local media as well, I think.
Well, I want to say one thing, and Ed knows about this. We were all involved on an effort against Tashara. And spent a considerable amount of money, but our point was not to elect Kara. It was to de-elect Tashara.
Right.
Because my belief is that no mayor should receive support in this community because of the terrible records until that mayor actually proves that they are worth the investment. And in this city, we get rid of this one and immediately embrace the next one as the next great hope, and then we get disappointed, and sooner or later the city is going to completely fail. What's already failing. But to my opinion is that it's time that a mayor stepped up and proved that they were worth investing in and supporting. And
I can't disagree with that. I really can't.
I can't either. Look, I mean, in the whole lawsuit, look, we shouldn't be talking about lawsuits. We should be talking about recruitment and retention in the police department. That should be the conversation that we're not having. And this whole lawsuit is I think it's a bunch of nonsense, personally. Again, we need to be talking about how to add 300 new cops. I mean, that's just...
Yep. Hang tight. Ed Rhode, David Barklage. It's a Reardon Roundtable on a Friday. We're coming back with more.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, it's not as bad. I mean, this morning was a little bit tricky with some areas, but right now it's fine. And if you are southbound on 55, we do have a little bit of a slow go. Headed down toward Highway Z, we have a construction zone there. Not bad, though, at the one in the city. Now, westbound 40, it's slowing. It's approaching Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound is slowing at Big Bend, and that's jamming up southbound 170 as you head toward 64. Southbound 270, mainly moderate volume on either side of Manchester. And out west, 70 does have a slow pocket or two, and that's approaching... Oh, we do have an accident now reported. Well, that would explain it. At 79. And then a slow pocket or two through Wentzville. At 40 is slow. It's 64 out there, but it's west of Winghaven out through the 70 split. If you're headed into Illinois, we look fine on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. This report is brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. Simply the finest when it comes to mirror glass and shower doors. They've got the latest, most custom designs at their showroom in Chesterfield. There you'll see why they say creativity unlimited, quality unsurpassed. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
More of the Roundtable coming up. Guys, if you don't feel like yourself, maybe you don't have the energy that you used to, I want you to take advantage of an experience at Game Day Men's Health that you're going to love because it's a free consultation. Matt Lawrence has a great office out in Chesterfield, right near 6440 Olive and Clarkson. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. They'll give you a free consultation within 20 minutes after the blood work. They'll have some results, and they'll meet with you, and they'll talk about your goals, your medical history, no pressure, just clarity, education. They're very, very educated. There's on-site advanced testing. They have their own pharmacy. The treatment plan that they may offer you is very simple, and you could take the medicine at home. Maybe you're interested in peptides and vitamins and some of the other things that they have at Game Day. It's not just TRT, but there are things that really can help you recovering faster from sports injuries, for example. There's GLP-1s that they can specialize in, even for women, even though it's Game Day Men's Health. Check out Game Day Men's Health. Go to that location in Chesterfield. Take advantage of that 1-hour visit. You will not be disappointed. GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and Zero Res. Mark Cox here. This week, flash sale, $50 per room of carpet clean for unlimited rooms and whole system duct cleaning for just $5.99. Visit ZeroResSTL.com.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley, and this is the sound of our attorneys walking into court. Because when an insurance company offers a lowball settlement, we go to trial, prepping endlessly, interviewing witnesses. We know the loss and the cost of an accident, and when it's needed, we go to war for you and take the fight to the insurance company, because we've been in your shoes. Kaufman Townsley, real people, real results. Call 314-777-7777.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
3:33. This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Real talk, today's issues. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis conservative.
David Barklage, Republican consultant, Ed Rhode, Democrat consultant, on the panel with us this afternoon. It's a Reardon Roundtable on a Friday. We have a Friday edition of Sue's News coming up. I have to mention this because I don't think she really has a chance, but maybe she does. Cori Bush is running for this seat that she lost to Wesley Bell, David Barklage. Is there any chance that she wins that primary?
Well, I don't think it's about chance. It's about risk. And to that regard, I think that you have to always take an outsider, I guess I don't know what she'd be, but to take a candidate like that seriously. And so to that regard, I don't know if it matters how likely she is to win. I think what matters is that Wesley Bell, if he wants to retain that seat, needs to do everything it takes to get elected. This is when you get bad people winning in a democracy. A lot of times I don't blame the people. I blame the other candidate.
Is he doing enough? I mean, can we gauge that?
I got to tell you, I have a couple campaigns I'm working on in St. Louis County, and I'm just not seeing it. I'm not feeling the energy from her. I think Wesley's doing what he needs to do. He's raising money. He's out doing events in the county, in the city. He's bringing home money. He's making announcements. And there just doesn't seem to be a groundswell or an appetite for Cori Bush. I mean, honestly.
Well, one would hope that that's the case, but nothing in St. Louis would shock me.
But with these progressive Democrats,
right.
Sometimes you just never know. But I don't think she's raising money. I haven't heard of national money coming in for her. So, honestly, it wouldn't be surprising to me if we see in her campaign finance report she's paying herself because she probably needs the money, honestly. But I'm not seeing it. I'm not feeling it. I think Wesley is doing what he needs to do, and I think he's going to be fine.
So, what when it comes to this year's elections, David Barklage, we'll have some ballot issues that we're going to have to decide upon in the fall. And are some of those a little undefined still at this point?
Yeah, probably start with the governor's focus on trying to modernize the tax system. And what the governor has done is he has recognized correctly that our current tax code our current taxing structure is based on 75,000 pages of IRS code, which is incredibly regressive. The most wealthy don't tend to pay taxes under that. That we've got almost $1 billion of tax credits that are off the books that are not really managed well, which gives corporate welfare of another $1 billion, and then we are taxing 30% of the economy almost at the max. When you go and you buy, something at the store, you're paying 10% or better.
Maybe a little higher than that,
yeah,
right?
And while our economy is expanding into services, we've ignored that. And so the complication for the governor is to explain that we need to modernize the system, but how we get there is undefined because it's very hard to quantify when you have exemptions. We have 2,000 exemptions and deductions in our tax code. And to that regard, an exemption, because it's not counted, we don't know how much is in there. So as you get into the system, you have to stage it out and see how you do the replacement income, which he's committed to zero.
Well, let me see if I can offer one example of that, because I brought this up before. Because people, when they hear, well, maybe the sales tax is going to be a little higher, then that's one thing if you're going to the grocery store or to Target or something like that. But if you buy a car, well, that's a pretty big hit. My understanding is that would be exempt. But then how do you pick and choose what gets exempt and what doesn't get exempted?
Well, I think that's a great question. And, I mean, my understanding, and David would know better, it passed the House, and we're still waiting for it to go through the Senate. I mean, look, getting rid of the income tax is probably not a bad idea to, develop, economic activity and make this an attractive state to come to. Obviously, to your point, I'd like to know what the taxes are going to have to be to replace it. I will say that if it comes to fruition, I like the 10-year phase-out. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, people need to know that it's not getting rid of the income tax. Even in the city, when we're talking about the earnings tax, there's never been a proposal that says we're just going to zap that right away. It's going to be a phase-out, right?
Yeah. And the big challenge is, on the ballot is it's going to be very easy to attack because a lot of people don't trust the legislator. I think most people trust the governor, but a lot of people don't trust the legislature. It's highly partisan. I work with the realtors, one of those groups that are very concerned. They fought very hard in 2008 and 2016 to protect home ownership. And that's then in jeopardy. And the problem is, rightly so, they have concerns of whether those things will be protected. And the problem is, it's very hard to promise much of anybody what the outcome's going to be when you really don't know the numbers yet. So the governor's in an unenviable position that there's legitimate arguments against it. But at the same time, I hope, like Social Security, where every time it comes up, it's demagogued on each side and nothing ever happens, that the governor, that whatever happens either way, it is the beginning of modernization of our tax code, getting rid of waste, regressivity, and actually addressing the economy that we're in.
But look, I mean, if this thing passes, it gets to the ballot, it's going to pass, right? Who's going to read ballot language that says, would you like to get rid of the income tax, and say no? I know that some people will, but most voters, even independent voters, if they're not dialed into it, they may say, hey, that sounds like a great idea, not even knowing what the implications might be.
History is actually the other way.
Really?
In 1994, Missouri, in the height of a Republican landslide in modern history, every state in the Union had a Republican wave except Missouri that had Hancock 2 on the ballot. Hancock 2 was a further restriction of spending, and it just seemed organic that every hospital person, every school teacher, everybody thought it was a threat, and even though the campaign was not that strongly organized against it, it swamped it, and we had losses in the Missouri Senate and House that year. We were one of 2 legislatures in the entire country. We had 2 of the 3 legislators that lost were in Missouri.
That's interesting. I mean, obviously, time's a little different. There's different media coverage along those lines, too, that might impact something like this. But I would have guessed that the opposite would have happened in that particular situation. The Hancock thing is more complicated, though, isn't it? Because, I was around for the first Hancock Amendment, and that was a little difficult for people to understand. But when it came to that ballot initiative, there was active opposition to it, though, right?
Yeah.
Will there be active opposition to this from the realtors and other people like that in lobbies, right?
The realtors are trying to find their way of where they're going to end up. Here's the bigger threat. Missouri is in the midst of an effort by progressive groups nationally to invest between $40 and $60 million every cycle for 5 cycles to make Missouri no longer a Republican state. People think that Minnesota's shift to the left was accidental. Minnesota was shifting to the right, and National Democrats went in and have spent tens of millions of dollars in trying to make that much more solid Democrat state, and they've succeeded. Colorado, another example of where they used the Tabor Amendment to literally flip the state upside down. The fear here is that national groups will pour in tens of millions of dollars and use that to try to defeat as many Republicans, taking away the 2/3 majority in both bodies and setting up future elections.
But we seem pretty red here, don't we?
Well, if that's true, I'm trying to figure out how to get a consulting contract with one of these guys to try to help move.
We don't want
the
someone
state
like
left.
you working on this other side. You'd beat us.
I don't think I could work for those groups, though.
Well, but I mean, I don't know. This will be interesting to see what happens and how they sell the whole thing. But look, I think we'd be in a better spot if we can. To your point, David, we have to rethink the tax structure. Look, even the gas tax, and nobody wants to talk about that right now. We still have a very low gas tax in Missouri, but let's face it, all these EVs are going to change the dynamic of how we tax vehicles, right? You're going to probably do it. They're going to try to do it on mileage or whatever.
How many things today do you lease, like software, getting Uber, whatever, versus that you used to own? I mean, and houses, everything. And so none of those transactions really are being taxed on services. And so it's almost insane. And to the extent a lot of those services are luxury. It's like, how many middle class or lower middle class people, have lawn care and have pool, cleaners and have, dog walkers and everything else. So there is an advantage there to build a less regressive tax system. But the Democrats can't get past the fact that it's an opportunity to criticize the Republicans.
On the national political front, now try not to laugh, okay? And if you're driving, just be careful here. This is Kamala Harris.
I might.
Question is, will she run again?
Got to be about the American people, and that's how I think of it. And I am thinking about it in the context, and is who and where and how. Can the best job be done for the American people? That's how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, the last 15 seconds of that kind of summed up why she shouldn't run again. Now, I've been keeping my eye on Rahm Emanuel. I don't know if he can pop through nationally because the Democrats are so wacky, but he's trying to talk some sense into your party, Ed.
You lost the plot. We as Democrats, Nash, from Latinx to defunding the police to police organizations are all racist to bringing a set of cultural wars to our schools. We are on the losing side of those cultural wars. Full stop. You are worried about bathroom access and locker room access. Why don't you focus on classroom excellence? You have 50% of our kids not reading at grade level.
Well, they can just say we can do both.
You've proven you can't, because you've permitted a 30-year low in reading and math scores, and nobody seems to be calling the whistle on this.
Rahm Emanuel's a Democrat. He sounds like a Republican. He's right about all those issues, by the way. I agree with him on everything.
He is one of the few Democrats nationally that I could get behind. He is a good guy. He totally gets it. He's right on every single issue. Mark Kelly down in Arizona, another one of those guys. I mean, we don't need to be going as Democrats backwards.
But David, they won't put someone like that to win a primary, right?
No, and plus, it is typical that Democrats sound more like Republicans as you get closer to election. But I'm all for Harris going.
Yes, me too.
In 2 years,
I'll put up yard signs. Right?
I'll do it with you.
All right.
I'll drive my gas.
We're coming back with more
traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this afternoon, you know what? It's not bad. We look good on 270 eastbound through North County. Westbound 70, moderate volume at Jennings Station Road, and then between K and, actually it's 79 to just past K, and then a slow pocket or two out through Wentzville. 64 is mainly moderate volume, but it stretches from Kings Highway to the inner belt, slows at 270, and then approaching N out through the 70 split. Most of the volume on southbound 270 is from 6440 through Doherty Ferry. 55 looks good in the city, but it slows headed for Z in that construction zone. And if you're headed into Illinois, we look fine on the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is so easy. It really is. You need a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. These are awesome generators. They're not portable. They're high quality. And Generator Supercenter can set you up with one right now. They even have financing available with low monthly payments. We know that ice on power lines could bring them down. We know that tornadoes occur here in St. Louis this time of year. We've seen the power grid fail across the planet as well. You get peace of mind with a great quality generator. And when you buy it from Generator Supercenter, you're going to get the warranty service and the maintenance that's required. It will have your home back on within seconds. Stop by the showroom. They're out on the Airport Road in Chesterfield, or call 314-499-2020. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com. Tell them that we sent you in.
97.1 FM Talk in Action is spotlighting Our Ladies Inn, providing safe shelter, care, and support for pregnant women and children facing homelessness. Since 1982, they've helped local families build stable, independent futures. Learn more at OurLadiesInn.org.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis conservative.
Man, I've been fascinated. The show has been, Sue and I too, Fred, with Artemis and Splashdown set for tonight.
I've actually been thinking about entry since April 3rd, 2023, when we got assigned to this mission. And one of the first press conferences we were asked, what are we looking forward to? And I said Splashdown, and it's kind of humorous, but it's literal as well, that we have to get back.
Hopefully, we've done our best to bring folks together and to make sure that we can be the best we can be.
The four of us are now forged in a friendship that is very unique, and we will cherish this bond that we share for the rest of our lives.
I think it's amazing. It's been really fun to watch this. NASA has a great website. Butch Wilmore, former astronaut, talked about reentry. I mean, we have to assume this is going to go well tonight, but it's risky.
It's coming back really fast, about 25,000 miles per hour, 37,000 almost feet per second. That's almost 7 miles a second. That is screaming. It comes in, it's going to hit the atmosphere. It's got about 2.5 degrees that it has to hit it. Too shallow, it bounces and keeps going. Not good. Too steep, high G, can damage the capsule and the folks inside. Not good. Hit right in that 2.5 degrees. It's going to enter the atmosphere. It's going to actually turn and skip out of the atmosphere, come back into the atmosphere as it dissipates its energy, and eventually land exactly on the backside of the planet, right off the coast of San Diego.
So here's what's insane. Ed Rhode and David Barklage. I am rewatching Mad Men for like the third time, and I'm on the last season of Mad Men, and I watched the episode last night for the moon landing. And when you think about the technology that we had and what we achieved back then, it is mind-blowing that we were able to go to the moon multiple times. Obviously, not every mission was perfect, but it is just crazy that we did that 60 years ago or 55 years ago, and we're doing it again, but that hurts my brain to think about it, Ed.
I think the technology in one phone outpaces all of the technology in the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo program at that time.
That's what's amazing. Your iPhone has more power than they did back then.
Well, it honestly, it makes me proud that we can actually make a ship like that here in the United States to go to the moon and back. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it makes me feel good that we can do that.
Mark, I got to say, I wasn't sure that if you did it on purpose, but the first clip sounded like an orgy of all the terms they were using. That
it was a montage. It was a montage.
And the four of them closer together. But the last clip, I'd want to shut that guy down if I were an astronaut and he said, well, you only have a 2.5% chance of surviving, and they're probably going to splash here.
Well,
I'd be like,
he's not saying 2.5. He's been great. Butch Wilmore has been on Fox.
But say it after they left.
No, I know. Well, look, nothing's guaranteed, and there's always going to be risk involved. And we talked about it when the liftoff happened last week, because you just don't know, and we're all people who remember the Space Shuttle Challenger.
Well,
certainly.
maybe if their Outlook wasn't working, they didn't get the news feed. But I will have to tell you all this. Zach in our office is a flat earther, and he pointed out all of the different pictures and how they were wrong, including the color of the moon, proving the fact, as he has known for years, that there is no moon. It is
okay. So please tell me you're making this up, because Sue and I talked about the flat earthers this week. I hope to God you're not serious.
No, Zach has walked through all the math and everything else, that how it's cooler.
Wow. Okay.
And how it's cooler out. When the moon is showing, it's actually cooler in the moonlight than it is.
So the moon's fake. Is it an image that we blast into the sky?
There's several theories on it. They just know it's not a planet and the Earth is flat.
It's a Democrat or Republican thing. Democrats believe in science, so we get it.
Oh, right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Believe
that's
me. You remember COVID, Ed Rhode. I'm going to the Cardinals game tonight. Reminder that Alexa Reardon singing with Stanton Singers the national anthem at 6:57. But look, I'm excited about baseball because we all know expectations are low. It's a rebuild. There's some kids and some guys on this team that are exciting. Jordan Walker's starting to heat up a little bit. The bullpen hopefully will kind of fall into place, but we need to support the team. Look, I'm expecting, even with the Red Sox in town, I don't think we're going to have jam-packed seats. You're going to have to earn this back from the fans. Ed, certainly after school is out, you'll have bigger crowds, but we don't have a lot of seasons that start like this with all this worry and concern that might not even be resolved for 3 or 4 years.
It's been a very pleasant surprise. It's exciting. Jordan Walker has been, hopefully this is going to be his breakout season, but, it's kind of nice to see some of the young guys to have an opportunity to play, to see what they can do, and who knows? You can't turn it around in 1 or 2 years, and you know what? Sometimes you just have to rip the Band-Aid off and, just go play. And it's been a pleasant surprise.
I want to root for them.
Guys.
I want entertainment baseball, and I've not gotten to know him personally, but I was at an event a couple weeks ago where Chaim Bloom was there, and he's a super impressive guy. He really is. The Blues, however, not heading to the playoffs, so we're going to have to continue with that. And then my Mizzou Tigers are still trying to dip into the transfer portal on the basketball side. David Barklage, great to see you. I hope all is well. Thanks for giving us the update on everything in Jeff City. The session's going to wrap up. We're only about a month away from that, right?
Yes, sir. It's going to be very busy, but I think it'll be a productive session.
I need to get Governor Kehoe back on because it's been just a little bit. I know Fred is working on that. Ed Rhode, good to see you. I know you split time between St. Louis and the desert. Thanks for coming in this afternoon.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
me.
it. That wraps a roundtable for this Friday. When we come back, we'll have some things to go over. I have a little audio I want to share after 4 o'clock. Sue has a Friday edition of Sue's News. She has, I look at the one piece of audio in there. It does intrigue me, I will say that. We have Paul Hall on entertainment. There's a bunch of films opening in the theaters, and there's some new stuff streaming as well. You have, there's this show on Peacock, I think, that looks like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but it's Honey, I Shrunk My Wife. And I want to see if he's seen that. And also, it's Your Friends and Neighbors' second episode is out. So that's all coming up in the next hour. Frank Cusumano as well. We have Brian Kilmeade at 5:04 and our friend Tim Sommer on some fun music stuff after Kilmeade.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, on the roads this afternoon, it's really not that bad. We had a couple of stalls out there. They have been cleared. And what we're left with is westbound 70 in good shape. It's just slow in pockets 79 out through Wentzville. 64 is Kings Highway in pockets through 270. And then west of Winghaven out through 70. Westbound Manchester jams at 141. Southbound 270, moderate volume really. It's in pockets from Olive to just about Doherty Ferry. 55 looks good until you get south of Highway M, and then it's a little bit of volume in the work zone there, but not bad. And things look great on the Poplar Street Bridge. Eastbound 64, though, slowing at 157. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I was explaining a couple of days ago, I went into a big box store and was kind of wandering around looking for appliances that I kind of knew I was going to buy online anyway, but no one ever came to help me or anything like that. That was kind of what I anticipated. But I bring it up because if you need flooring, I know the temptation might be to go into a big box store because maybe it's easier. It's not, because you're not going to get the advice, the expertise that they have at the 3 location of Michael's Flooring Outlet. Mike Reynolds is awesome. He's got so much passion for what he does. He's been running his own business since he was 26 years old, and Michael's can help you with any kind of soft flooring projects, hard flooring projects, carpet repair projects, anything along those lines. I say get started on the website. If you go to igotfloored.com, you'll see some of the products. You can order samples from the website. You can even upload a picture, get some inspiration. But they have a team of great, great folks that have been with Mike for a long time, and they'd love to see you in Old Town St. Peters, in Darien Prairie, or in West County on Olive. Michael's Flooring Outlet. Again, the website, igotfloored.com. They have great Mohawk products, and they really can help you and guide you into the right product for your home situation. The technology differs. If you're looking for something for pet-resistant, stain-resistant, scratch-resistant, they got you covered. igotfloored.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE.
License number GL250000615.
We've seen all kinds of clogs, so remember the rule. Only flush 3 things. Number 1, number 2, and toilet paper.
What about my dinosaurs?
No.
My monster truck?
Nope.
What about...
If it's not the big 3, don't flush it.
But if someone does flush a dinosaur...
Call Grasser. We clear the clog and get things moving again.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
Triton Exteriors, St. Louis Roofing, Siding, and Gutter Systems. We'll take care of you and your home. We're #1 in the Ladue, Kirkwood, and Webster area. James Hardy certified. Visit Triton.stl.com to be connected with a James Hardy expert and receive a free estimate. Triton-stl.com or call 314-717-1159. That's 314-717-1159. Triton Exteriors, St. Louis #1 James Hardy specialists.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
A record-setting mission nears an end. I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News. Artemis II is closing in on a dramatic finale, a Pacific splashdown for a historic mission. NASA says the 13-minute re-entry window must go perfectly for the Orion capsule.
NASA decided to put Orion on a steeper, shorter re-entry path to reduce the time the shield is exposed to extreme heat. Company officials with NASA's prime manufacturing contractor for Orion agree. After the capsule slows to about 350 miles an hour, it will deploy a series of parachutes to slow even further for a splashdown speed somewhere between 17 and 20 miles an hour.
Fox's Jonathan Siri. A splashdown's expected off the coast of San Diego at 8:07 p.m. Eastern Time. The Artemis II crew set a record for traveling the farthest into space and was the first moon mission in more than 50 years, even though just a flyby. Iran made demands today that may derail peace talks with the U.S. this weekend in Pakistan. Tehran says it won't proceed with talks unless its assets are unfrozen and there's a Lebanon ceasefire. Vice President Vance, who's leading the U.S. delegation, had his own demand before leaving for Pakistan this morning.
If the Iranians are willing to negotiate in good faith, we're certainly willing to extend the open hand. If they're going to try to play us, then they're going to find that the negotiating team is not that receptive.
Vance says he expects positive talks and says President Trump has given some pretty clear guidelines.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. As stocks ended mixed for the day and up for the week.
With the Nasdaq notching its 8th straight session of gains, its longest winning streak since August of 2024, following March's CPI report, with inflation data rising to its highest level in nearly 2 years in the wake of the Iran war.
Fox's Hillary Barsky. The Nasdaq gained 80 points. The Dow fell 269. America's listening to Fox News.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. Ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Here's a tale of Tina searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Tell GoodRx Roden, hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door or pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Hot foot it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Clouds will dominate going through our Friday afternoon with a couple of scattered showers, 73 for the high. Tonight, clouds, a couple of scattered showers, fair amount of dry time, but we'll keep an eye on the sky. 53. The weekend, Saturday and Sunday, a mix of clouds and sunshine. Nothing more than a couple of spotty showers in the mid to upper 70s. A lot of dry time over the weekend. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Fred, you going over to the old ballpark this weekend by any chance?
No, I'm not. I'm going Monday, but not over the weekend.
Okay. Why aren't you going over the weekend? Why do you hate the Cardinals?
Oh, my gosh.
I would go if I could.
Who do they play on Monday?
I'm not sure.
It's
really.
my birthday. You know, you could take me to the game.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I think we're all.
I'll go with you.
Invited as part of the station.
Wait, is that the station one?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I think I missed that one. I saw. This is one of those situations where, like, there was an email that went out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't think I responded to the emails when I'm guessing. Yeah. So are you going too? Okay, good. I don't feel so bad.
No, there's two of us.
I'll represent.
Thank you, Fred.
Yep.
Did you get your haircut yesterday? It looks nice.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
No, I got it like on Wednesday.
Sorry.
That.
You know, it's funny that you said
I keep
that.
forgetting to say it.
You know what I thought of yesterday? Because we were talking about, like, you guys, I think I was shamed for not using a hairbrush because I don't have a hairbrush, right? So I thought about my idea, and Sue thought my idea was a little whack, but then Fred actually went for it, but we haven't executed it. I still want my stylist to come in here, Allison, do a haircut, put a little product in Fred's hair.
No,
we have to do that.
About that.
We have to do it when your kids are in town, I think.
That's a
you
good
know what
plan.
I mean? Yeah.
I am totally pro this. My only hesitation was, have we run it by Marie?
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah. It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, we're good.
I think we got to do it.
Oh,
right?
that's good.
But I thought about it last night because of our discussion yesterday. So we also talked about the Astrodome because it was like the anniversary of the Astrodome being complete. And Fred mentioned this, it looks like a catalog. It looks like a Sears catalog from the 70s. What is it?
It's the program for the first year of the Astrodome.
Amazing.
Read the headline, what the front of it says.
It says Astrodome. The Astrodome is more than a stadium. It's a way of treating people. The eighth wonder of the world. It was a $1. I thought it said $100.
Wonder of the world. That is hilarious.
Oh, and then they go into like AstroTurf and memorable. This is actually really cool.
Yeah, it is.
Did you found this in an estate sale?
Yeah, I got it in an estate sale.
So this is. I'll even give you my second Mad Men reference here this afternoon because when I look at the ads that are in here, for like Johnny Walker Red and Monarch Finer Foods, it totally looks like what I'm watching from Sterling Draper Cooper and what they were coming up with. That's pretty funny.
That's the best part.
So can you explain, because the host was paying more attention to the Masters than anything else in the news cycle today. I think it's justified. It's Masters weekend. It's also, I don't know if I mentioned this, my birthday weekend.
Oh, my gosh.
But this thing at LAX, look, we've had some close calls, and they have not been good. We've had more than close calls. We had that disaster at LaGuardia, and I still can't believe more people weren't killed, and we still have questions that are lingering from that. But what the hell happened at LAX today?
So, I don't know if it was today or was yesterday.
No, it says Wednesday night. I guess.
Wednesday night. Passenger plane was landing.
Oh, shoot. I've got it in Sue's News. You can use it.
Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Well, sure.
Well, all right. So this, because we have audio here. This is CBS News is learning that 2 trucks on the taxiway cut off a passenger plane. Frontier Airlines, that was the airplane in question.
Maybe it isn't the same one. Keep going with this story, then I'll tell you.
Frontier confirmed the incident to CBS News, saying, "We are aware of the incident. No injuries were reported to passengers or crew. We thank our crew for their vigilance and their professionalism." And here's
that isn't me, then.
Okay, here's the audio.
We had 2 trucks just cut us off. We had to slam on the brakes not to hit them. It happened so fast. Both of us are just sitting there. We just slammed on the brakes. I'm going to have to call the flight attendants, make sure everybody's all right in the back. It was real close, closest I've ever seen.
2 trucks cut off Frontier at Kilo and Bravo at the service road. Frontier, do you have eyes on them? Which direction are they going?
They were going eastbound. Frontier Flight 3216. I think one of them was a truck and one of them was like a transit, like a Ford Transit passenger van type of thing.
That is not good.
I know.
Coming on, what do you think those pilots thought, and how much were their hearts beating knowing the two pilots were just killed 3 weeks ago, right?
They said they never braked harder in their life.
Jeez,
oh, my God.
That's so scary.
And, I don't know if we're just hearing about this more or if it's happening more, but that kind of stuff, good Lord. Like, I always get nervous. I think everyone naturally kind of gets a little nervous on takeoff and landings. But, man, once the wheels kind of hit the ground, I feel pretty good. Not anymore, because some of this is happening after the wheels hit the ground.
True.
Unreal. All right, I didn't get to this yesterday. A lot of times on a Friday we do stuff that's a little lighter, but I just have to get to this because the new Democratic Party, if you think that the Democratic Party here and the progressives in this country are crazy, let's take you up to Canada right now because this is crazy. This is Leah Gazan, who is with the new Democratic Party, and she...
Wait, are they calling it the new Democratic Party?
Yeah, they call it the NDP of Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, you can follow them on Twitter if you'd like. It's
No,
at
thank you.
NDP. And she says, Leah Gazan, who is the MP of the NDP, says that there's a genocide of MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA. There's two Qs there, plus people in Canada. And if you think I'm making it up, here she is.
When the budget was released, I was shocked to find out that Prime Minister Carney is cutting $7 billion between Indigenous Services Canada and Crown Indigenous Relations. They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIWG2SLGBTQIA+.
There it is.
This is abhorrent.
Let's do that again, just because that was so good.
To deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIWG2SLGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent. This is callous. This is callous because the very Liberal government that has stripped organizations of life-sustaining funding has now committed $13 billion. $13 billion on military spending.
Ain't that great?
So you ready for the definition? The MMIWG portion of it refers to murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls, which I don't want to make light of women and girls, but let me just tell you something. There's a little background here because there was a big effort in Canada to secure this sacred ground where all these Indigenous people supposedly died, and it was a complete hoax, fake, never happened. So some of this stuff is hard to take seriously in Canada, but it's murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls. And then the 2SLGBTQ, et cetera, it stands for two-spirited, which is a term, this is from some coverage on hotair.com. It's a term that white academics popularized 50 years ago to give expression to their mystical reveries about sacred Indigenous elf people living in some pre-colonial Eden-like gender-weighing nirvana where everyone has 3 penises and 5 vaginas. No one is allowed to ask what the term even means, but our government made it official policy to use ridiculous words like this under Trudeau, so we're basically stuck with it. That's one of the conservatives in Canada who gave a little primer on that. But that's a good one. MMI. How would you even, remember that one, I would say?
She said it, boy, in a practiced manner.
Yeah, and I guess here is the Prime Minister. Here's more of the language.
Who is paying for it? Indigenous women across this country, Indigenous women, girls to us, LGBTQIA+, are not safe. In fact, rates of violence are increasing. And what is the Prime Minister doing? He is turning a blind eye on this violence.
This would be a good password. I think that if you're doing a password and you put MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA+, maybe with an exclamation point.
Yeah, exclamation point.
That'll get you there, and I think that's going to be a pretty good password that no one's ever going to be able to crack that one.
I couldn't tell it to you now.
The whole thing sounds like it's a complete joke, mainly because it's a complete joke that they use this language. And, going back to what we had from Rahm Emanuel in the last hour, he's the only guy seemingly on the entire Democrat side of politics. Now, I'm not including some of the same people we have here in St. Louis, like our friend Jane. But for the most part, those people get, drowned out by all the nutcases out there, right?
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. All right, 4:12. We have Cusumano coming up a little bit later. I was really keeping an eye. I wasn't joking about watching the Masters. I was watching the Masters a lot. Rory had a great start to his day. Scotty Scheffler, not as good, struggled a little bit on the course. Dan Reardon's going to be here with an update in the 5 o'clock hour. The cut line looks like it's going to be 74, so it's beautiful weather. The conditions are really, really nice down at Augusta National. So we'll talk to Frank about that right around 4:50, and then Dan Reardon, no relation, coming up at the end of the show right before cut of the day. I'm looking forward to our conversation with Brian Kilmeade this afternoon. Catch up with him. Jimmy Fallon is tomorrow night, by the way. I should mention that because I'll be out there with Mark Cox, apparently, for a quick moment on stage. I hate doing things in front of people.
Oh, I know.
Now, but I do think that I have the freedom to drop an F-bomb tomorrow night, don't I? Because Jimmy dropped one on my show.
That's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you could, but you beeped his or bleeped his.
Yeah, but something tells me profanity will be allowed on Saturday night at the factory.
Oh, you'll
and I'm
be
fond
happy.
of profanity, so you know that.
Oh, I do know that.
As soon as I get fired, which could be any minute now, not even day now, when I get my podcast that no one will listen to, the F-bombs are going to fly. They are going to fly pretty comfortably, let me tell you that.
Try not to steal the stage.
That's a good point, Fred.
That is the last thing I'm going to do. I've learned my lesson on that over the years. He's the professional. I'm just going to introduce him and say, Jimmy Fallon! Because I'm told that I have to say that last, right?
Here's Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
That's what you
should I do nothing else?
Yes.
Should I just go up there and say, great to see you. Here's Jimmy Fallon. I might, at this point, I might, because I don't like getting in front of a bunch of people and having their eyeballs on me.
I know.
Mark Cox can do it, man. He can talk about his, cigars and all that stuff. But I am looking forward to the show because I think that I've never seen Jimmy do comedy. And one of the things that he's made very clear when he's talked to us, and he was on earlier this week, is that this is not what you hear on his show, after my show. It's not what you see on Fox. It's a stand-up comedy show. It's, it's going to be funny. I think it's going to be topical.
He's a hoot.
And it is a great, great venue. So hopefully, and I'm thinking there's a few tickets remaining if you want to go there. The great thing about the factory, there's no bad seats in the whole place. There really isn't. It's an awesome venue. Sue's News is coming up. Go ahead, Fred. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, when I was talking to Jimmy Fallon earlier this week, right before we got him on air, I said, anything in particular besides the show you want to talk about? He says, I'm a talk show host. Give me any topic.
Right.
I can do
Right.
I could riff for 5 minutes on it and make you laugh.
Yeah, I wonder if he knows it's my birthday weekend.
Oh, my God.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, there is an accident, and it's a serious one on westbound 70, and it's just west of the Rock Road. Now, I just put it up on X at Susan6768. We've got multiple lanes blocked. These are the left lanes blocked for westbound drivers, only the right lane getting by, and the left lane is blocked for eastbound drivers. We have a parking lot jam westbound that goes back to Cypress. We've got a parking lot jam eastbound that goes back almost to the Blanchette Bridge. This is by far the worst of it right now. But if you're thinking to yourself, gosh, should I take 64 or 70 home from downtown? Take 64. It's the usual volume Kings Highway out through McCausland, and then it's a little slow past Winghaven. On the Illinois side, eastbound 70 slows at 64, but we're fine on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report is brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they have been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes. They do inside and out, windows, bathrooms, outdoor spaces, and they give you quality craftsmanship and lifetime warranties. Go to lakesiderd.com. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Want to hear a shocking statistic? Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. Don't believe it? Google it. And that doesn't count serious injuries like birth injuries to perfectly healthy children. All doctors wear white jackets, but it doesn't make them all the same. Most medical errors are committed by the same quacks over and over again. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Many hospitals looking for more profits are forcing doctors and their groups to be employees of the hospital or be forced out of their system. It's a troubling trend in medicine. People make mistakes, but medical mistakes are huge and often forever. If you believe your child suffered a birth injury or a misdiagnosis or mistake led to a loved one's death or injury, let our team of medical malpractice lawyers examine your case for free. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Most sellers put their home on the market and just wait to see what happens. Hey, it's Mark Cox, and I'm with Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria, is there a better way to sell?
There is. Instead of listing your home the traditional way and hoping for the right buyer, I can get you up to 8 competitive cash offers right from the start. That means you're not guessing what your home might sell for. You're looking at the real offers and choosing the one that works the best for you. It also helps you to set the right price and create stronger demand if you decide to go to market. It gives you control, leverage, and a clear path forward before you accept just any offer. And remember, I'll guarantee to sell your home at 100% of the market value, or I'll pay you the difference.
Before you sell your home, see what your options are. Call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
For years, Gone South has been a podcast about crime in the American South. But for our new season, we're widening the lens. Through deeply reported, narrative-driven stories, we're digging into the myths, scandals, and power structures that still shape the South, and, in a lot of ways, the country itself. Follow and listen to Gone South Season 5, an Odyssey podcast. Available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your shows.
Mark Reardon, Sue Thomas. This is The Mark Reardon Show.
Our friend Paul Hall from Common Guy Films on entertainment in a matter of about 12 minutes. Frank Cusumano a little later in the hour. On a Friday afternoon, let's do this.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Well, I would like to wish both of you, well, hold on, I have to turn the page. A National Erase Self-Negativity Day. Mark Reardon.
Ooh, that's a challenge.
It is. No advice on how to do that. But they say, listen, talk nicer to yourself in your own narrative in your head. Try to be kinder to yourself, and perhaps that will spill out to others.
Well, I've addressed this topic before, and I'm very, very serious about it because I do have, a little negative energy. But I surround myself with people who have positive energy, and that's what helps me.
Yeah.
I really do.
Like Kenny Wallace.
Kenny Wallace, my friend Jeff Drew, who's at the Masters right now. A lot of folks like that. So, yeah. But that's a good thing to point out.
Right.
Really.
We say, such an idiot, or I'm just to be more positive.
As I've gotten older, and I think you guys might have seen this a little bit, you start to, I put things into perspective, because even when I'm bitching about things, and we were just talking about these bump outs in the city right now, compared to the problems that a lot of people have.
It's nothing.
But it takes you a while to come to terms with that.
I get it.
Yes.
You're working on it,
yes,
at least. And it's also National Siblings Day, which I always like, at least on social media. It is fun to sometimes see the people's siblings. I could put one up. What are your thoughts, Fred?
Oh, well, let's go over our siblings. I have 3 older sisters, Yvonne, Darlene, and Kathy.
I love that. Yvonne, Darlene, and Kathy. Do you have a picture of all of you that I could see?
Not with me, not in my wallet.
Okay.
No, but again, recently I said I've learned I was pronouncing her name wrong.
That's right.
Because it's she likes to be Yvonne. And I've called her Yvonne her whole life. And
well, I was actually going to ask you about the pronunciation. Now you've filled in the blanks. Is that unusual, Sue?
Yeah, it is. In my head, when he said Yvonne, I had spelled it differently, like E-V-O-N-N.
Yeah, like Yvonne Goolagong or
right,
something like that.
But it's Yvonne.
Yeah.
But were you little Freddie and you couldn't pronounce
it? That's probably.
Yeah. Then they just let you get away with it.
My mom always called her that, though, too.
Oh,
but
okay.
Everyone else and the other sisters all call her the right name.
Yeah. Mark, you've got sisters.
I was the oldest. I have 2 sisters, and I had a brother who passed away when he was 27 years old. He was born with hydrocephalus. He had a lot of issues when he was younger. He was mainstreamed into the Parkway School District. He graduated from Parkway West, but he didn't have really the capacity to go to college, and he went up and worked at household finance in the mailroom in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And passed away, unfortunately, when he was 27.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But he had a great life. He really did.
That's good. I only have one brother. He's in Houston. He's good at golf.
And I can vouch for that. Jeff's a good golfer.
And money.
And by the way, he's a cool dude. I like your brother.
My brother is great.
Yeah.
My brother is great. We have a lot of the same, well, I can't say that and then say we have the same mannerisms. But, he's a really good guy. What were you going to say?
Is he older or younger?
He's like...
He's younger.
He's younger,
Is he
okay.
an investment? Or?
Yeah, he has his own company. Arcos. Arcos.
He works for a living. He doesn't just flap his lips on the radio like we do.
Yeah, we're worthless and
I
he's
swear to God,
not.
I feel so guilty sometimes when I see, listening to all this Artemis stuff and talking to the guy from WashU yesterday. I just watch the Masters and get ready to say mean things on the radio. That's like my whole day.
I know.
That's my productivity for the planet.
I download things like it's National Erase Self-Negativity
Yeah,
Day.
exactly.
Yeah, and I collect stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't contribute much to society, do we?
No, we really don't. On this day in history, 177 years ago, in 1849, this is how old these things are, the genius Walter Hunt patented the safety pin. The safety pin is 177 years old. Here's the depressing part. He immediately sold the rights for only $400, and they've continued all the way till today.
Wow. Oh,
Isn't that nuts?
I think he should have held out for
Yes,
a little more,
but you
right?
know what? In $400, I'm sure in 1849 was a lot. But man, these people who invent stuff and then immediately sell.
What do we use safety pins for now?
Oh my gosh, for running bibs. When you go
Oh, no,
running.
that's true. That's true. Like with cycling, I used to have it for cycling.
Yes, I have a million of those things in the house.
But let's face it, those were used for cloth diapers.
Well,
right?
that's true too.
Yeah.
It probably was bigger back in the day. And then 160 years ago today, it was 1866 when the ASPCA was founded. I just didn't know that. It's the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. I had no idea it was 160 years old.
That's a long time.
And 114 years ago today, it's 1912, and the unsinkable Titanic set sail from England. On its maiden voyage, it hit an iceberg and sank 5 days later. But on this day, 114 years ago was when it sailed. And then 21 years ago today, in 2005, that's when Tiger Woods won his fourth Masters. He did not win it again until 2019. That's pretty recent, though.
Oh, no, that was amazing.
I mean, think of how much fun that
Masters in
was to
2019.
watch.
Yeah.
He did so much for the game of golf. And then, like Gary Player said yesterday, look, the guy's been through a lot. And you have empathy for him with the pain and the operations, but he should not be driving again.
No.
You know, I heard that cut of the day with Gary Player. I was driving home yesterday.
Really good.
That was amazing.
Yeah, he's really good,
That was
isn't he?
So
So
good.
too.
Just full of wisdom and polite, and the accent doesn't hurt either.
No,
right?
it really doesn't. And when he does those high kicks and he's 90, and I think, I really have to warm up before I did that. In science news, of course, we've talked about it. NASA's historic Artemis II mission will wrap up tonight. Splashdown in the Pacific Ocean off the California coast at 7:07 our time. The 4 astronauts will have traveled farther from Earth than any humans in history, and when they approach, the crew's Orion capsule will cut through the atmosphere at a temperature around 5,000 degrees. The whole thing blows my mind. And then after they splash down, U.S. Navy recovery teams will be quick to retrieve them for medical checks and a return to Houston. This will mark the end of humanity's first crewed lunar mission in more than 50 years.
You know, apparently, Tim Sommer, who's going to be with us in the next hour, he says that there is some concern about the heat shield because there were some chunks that came off in the last test. So, you assume that these things go well, but there's risk.
And what NASA did this time to hopefully avoid that is that they're coming in at a steeper angle, which will put less
crowd didn't like
pressure
that, but-
Yes.
on the heat shield.
Right.
That thing
okay.
kind of freaked me out, the whole come down and then back up and then come down. But
Yeah.
yeah. Also, this is interesting. California firefighters. By the way, there is a big fire in California today. Did you see that?
No,
Bunch of warehouses. California firefighters are testing out a device that uses sound waves to put out flames. It was developed by a former NASA engineer or two, and it works in milliseconds. The technology emits low-frequency infrasound that disrupts the chemical reaction that fire needs to burn. It has to do with oxygen. messing up the molecules for oxygen. And obviously, this would be great for the future since it's no water, no chemicals, and California does not have much water, which means it avoids the water damage, and somehow it vibrates the oxygen, and that works. You could see a video of it if you look it up. It's kind of crazy, but obviously in the early
I've
stages.
never heard of that technology.
I hadn't either. Okay, here's more bad plane news. A plane out of Nantucket had to make an emergency landing. Obviously, this is a small plane. One of the puddle jumpers. After a cabin door blew off the plane. Here are two passengers talking about
The window just popped open and the wind came rushing in. Her reaction right away was the only reason where I'm like, okay, this is not going to be my day.
I was okay once I realized what happened and we weren't sucked out of the plane immediately. I'm like, oh, then we're not going to get sucked out of the plane because this is not going to happen. So then we're fine. And then I started taking the videos.
Well, they're very talkative about it, aren't they? That would be a daunting moment.
Gosh.
Yes, that's crazy.
You'd think of every movie you ever saw. Doesn't everybody get sucked out of the plane?
Yes.
Or at least the one by the door?
Exactly. Even if they're in the seat.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
Right.
gone.
I don't understand it. Oh, by the way, I'm just trying to keep us hip. Page6.com says that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce will get married on July 3rd in New York City.
I've
That's
heard some
the
rumors
rumor.
here. Yep, exactly. My invite is probably, I've gotten to save the date, but I haven't gotten the invite yet.
Well, sure. You'll share.
Yeah.
No word on the actual venue. So what I'm wondering is, do you release a fake?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
That's not a bad idea.
That's what I would be doing.
Oh, yeah, that could be.
And finally, in Sue's news, we have today's random fact. Pure gold is safe to eat, but it's basically flavorless, and you shouldn't eat your jewelry because there's definitely some mixtures in there. But it has other metals mixed in, and you don't want to. But if you see, a little bit of gold paper on a food, you can eat it.
There's some advice for the weekend. That would be the randomest of random facts on a Friday afternoon, wrapping up Sue's News. Paul Hall coming up.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell convened an urgent meeting with bank CEOs this week to warn of cyber risks posed by Anthropic's latest AI model. Anthropic launched the powerful Mythos model earlier this week, but stopped short of a broad release, citing concerns it could expose previously unknown cybersecurity vulnerabilities. A 20-year-old man was arrested for throwing a Molotov cocktail at the home of OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. That individual also made threats at Altman. The device actually struck the front gate, exterior gate, and caused a fire. The suspect was arrested soon after at a site of another potential fire. Wall Street finished the week with mixed results. The Dow Industrials lost 269 points at 47,916. The Nasdaq picked up 80 points. The S&P 500 lost 7. West Texas crude up 1% at $98.62 a barrel. That's Your Money Now.
How was your break?
It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code ACTIVE for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ACTIVE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's ACTIVE.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
And James Hardie is the #1 by far brand of fiber cement siding on the planet. Over 10 million homeowners across the U.S. have installed the Hardie board to protect and beautify their homes. And Banner Construction right here in St. Louis, they've been in business since 1993. They would love to install a James Hardie product on your home. If you owned a home, maybe you do, own a home in Florida. You might get different products than you would here in St. Louis or in Minnesota because it's very particular to the climate. The Hardy products are just great because it's low maintenance. There's a great warranty, an awesome ROI. Your home is going to look beautiful. You want some examples of that? Go to bannerconstruction.com. Click on the Showcase tab, and you'll see beautiful homes in the area that have been transformed with the amazing colors, the array of selections that they have. And the team at Banner can sit down with you in a free in-home design consultation and blow you away with the ideas that they have with different products, also with pellet replacement windows. So if you're looking for replacement windows, keep Banner in mind as well. Since 1993 here in St. Louis, bannerconstruction.com.
Public schools, like public libraries, should be free and open to all. Open enrollment allows parents to choose the school that's the best fit for their children. Maybe another school has a wider curriculum, is bigger or smaller. Maybe a kid is being bullied and would be more comfortable at another school. 75% of parents favor open enrollment. Open enrollment programs now exist in 43 states, and Missouri should join them. Our next-door neighbor, Kansas, has one of the strongest open enrollment policies in the nation. Kansas parents are trusted with choices and options, while Missouri parents must move out of their home to change public schools. And it's a trend. Nationwide, the percentage of students going to their chosen public school has steadily increased. Assigning kids to schools based on their zip code is the old way. Open enrollment is a better way. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
4:33, this portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
From O'Fallon, Missouri to O'Fallon, Illinois. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
We got Cusumano coming up in a little bit. The Boston Red Sox are in town, better known as the former St. Louis Cardinals, because half the team, I think, is made of players that we traded to them. That's a slight exaggeration. But Cardinals game tonight, Alexa Reardon, Stanton Singers from Stanton Elementary doing the national anthem. Be in your seats at 6:57. I know I will be. Actually, I probably won't be in my seat, so I'll be there taking some video of Alexa. Paul Hall is here on entertainment from Common Guy Films. How are you, sir?
I'm good. You know, I do have your birthday in my calendar. I know it's right around the corner, so happy birthday early on that. And
don't cheap out on the gifts. Really, I don't really accept anything under $100, especially these days. You got to think about it.
Somebody on the. When I get my first Mark Reardon Show T-shirt, then I'll work on it.
Do you not have one of those yet?
I never got one. I've not gotten anything from you, my friend.
Oh, my God. I at least sent you Norbit in the mail one time. Come on, we used to do this thing. We used to punk each other. Well, that's because we punked each other.
I got you.
It was literally the worst movie I'd ever seen, and then Paul sent me a copy of it as a surprise, and I think I sent it back, and we've had some fun.
Somebody on the feed says, Alex says, happy birthday. He'll Venmo you a present in 6 months.
Oh, that's very funny. That is a very, very clever and astute and faithful listener who did that. Bite me. That's what I say to that. All right, talk entertainment. Get me out of this hole here, Paul Hall. What do you want to talk about? You want to start with outcome?
You know, here's the thing, Mark. This time of year, as you well know, we've done movies together a number of times in the last years. This time of year is terrible when it comes to movies in the theater or movies released anywhere. It just seems like it's the dumping ground. My birthday signifies the worst movies of the year coming out every year. Nonstop.
Yeah, because it's kind of in it's in the dead zone between the spring break stuff and then the summer releases, which will happen at the beginning of May, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you're getting out of awards and you're getting ready for summer, and everything else is coming out now.
All right. So outcome. Should I hit that? This is the release this weekend.
Reef Hawk. For the last 4 decades, America's favorite movie star, starring in 3 of the biggest franchises in film history. You've had 5 years off. I mean, how are you going to frame the 5 years thing?
I won't say that I was hiding a heroin addiction from the public and that my best friend and my insane lawyer helped me cover it up for years.
That is a really smart omission.
Strong omission.
So this is very intriguing. That's Keanu Reeves, and it's a film that is directed by Jonah Hill, right?
And Jonah Hill doesn't look like Jonah Hill. If you've seen this, the trailers on this, or if you've seen the movie yet, it premiered on Apple TV Plus today. You will not recognize Jonah Hill. He directs and is one of the co-stars. He plays kind of Reef's agent, Keanu's agent in this case, trying to get in front of a crisis. Like, let's be honest, Hollywood has a million of those. So That's kind of ripped from the headlines. He assembles a crisis team, which will make you laugh because the people he's got involved, he doesn't know if he'll need them or not because he doesn't know what the crisis is. But he's got to have someone to handle each of the kind of things that may come up. But the movie goes nowhere. It's an hour and 23 minutes is the actual runtime on it. And that's short for a feature film of any kind. There are moments in here where it gets so uneven that you want to like it. You want to like what's going on. And there's elements in here that you do like. Cameron Diaz is back in this one as well.
Yeah, she's been missing for a while.
Yeah, but it just never works. Even Martin Scorsese has an acting role in here. It just, to me, it never quite came together, and I wanted so much more. The good news is it's on Apple TV+. So for those of you who have that, check it out. It's only an hour and 20 minutes long. So, I mean, you don't have to invest a whole lot of your night.
By the way, episode 2 of Your Friends and Neighbors, I believe, is out now on Apple TV Plus as well. I never got to episode 1, so I'm going to have to do some back-to-backs in between watching the Masters this weekend. Anything else out in the theaters that we should know about?
Yeah, I should mention Hunting Matthew Nichols is something to stay away from. This wants to be Blair Witch Project. It's kind of a documentary found footage kind of thing. But this one drags along for the better part of the first 90 minutes of the 90-minute movie. And then it kind of doesn't know what it wants to be along the way. It's okay, but don't go expecting Blair Witch for sure. Also, you've got Yumi and Tuscany, which is the romantic comedy of the weekend. You've got Beast, which is, don't be alarmed. There's another title called Beast that's on Netflix now. This is a different one. This is Russell Crowe. It's an MMA film. And you've got a Faces of Death movie, Mark. Now, years ago, I worked in a video store, and there was a series called Faces of Death. It was one of our most rented series, and it truly was videos of people in death scenarios.
Ew.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was a gruesome. This movie kind of goes down there, what if it is today with dark web / YouTube type things. It's what it is. The series that was on VHS years ago is a lot worse from that perspective.
Yeah, that sounds like something I might want to avoid. Hey, I was going to press play on this week. It looks intriguing, but it also looks like it's very gimmicky. Did you happen to catch on Peacock The Miniature Wife, which looks like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but it's Honey, I Shrunk My Wife?
I just started into it, so I don't have a whole lot to say on it quite yet, but, they're advertising it quite a bit. It's everywhere you look.
So I think it's Elizabeth Banks who stars, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And her husband is some sort of scientist and accidentally shrinks her, which is like what happened with Honey, I Shrank the Kids. So it sounds like it's a bit of an updated, more adult version of that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Over on Netflix, you've got Thrash, which is a new shark movie. Storm surge, sharks come in New Orleans, do their damage, that type of thing. It's okay for what it is. You've also got a new docuseries called Trust Me, The False Prophet. That one will freak you out, and it really will get under your skin dealing with the post affairs of what was his name, Jim Jeffers out in Utah and whatnot. Samuel Bateman as he took over the FLDS group.
Oh yeah.
It is creepy. Oh, I'm sorry, Warren Jeffs. Don't get me.
That's
Warren
right.
Jeffs,
I remember that
guy
name.
That took over for, and it truly is creepy from start to finish. But if I can point you to one thing that you do want to check out this weekend, Malcolm in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair is on Hulu.
Ooh.
This is a 4-episode series. Today, Malcolm advanced to today's environment.
Okay.
With them getting ready for Hal and Lois's 40th anniversary. Everybody's back with the exception of Dewey's character. He was busy with some education stuff, and the whole cast missed him. But they honored what he wanted to do. Bryan Cranston, Jane Kaczmarek, everybody from top to bottom. Other than that, you'll see the others pop up, and of course Frankie Muniz as Malcolm. It's funny. It's really good for those of you.
It's a good cast, right? I mean, it should be. Okay.
I don't think I watched that show too much back in the day.
I did.
Well, it was very popular. And
Yeah.
you kind of forget that's Bryan Cranston before
Right,
Breaking Bad,
right.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
he went
interesting.
from there to being everything.
Right.
It just was an amazing transition. And now he goes back to do this and shows you that he can do that too. It's
Right.
really cool the way you can see what Bryan Cranston can do.
Yeah,
My
that's cool.
entertainment recommendations for this weekend would be the Masters, just because the app that they have put out, and there was somebody who was texting me today because they've really, just like every other sport, they've screwed this up because in the morning, I talked about this yesterday, Paul, you can't watch it except for on the app, and then there's a portion in the afternoon, at least yesterday and today, where Prime takes over 2 hours of the coverage, and then it goes to ESPN. Tomorrow, I think you can only watch on the app and then CBS coverage. Same thing for the final round on Sunday. But it has been immensely entertaining. I haven't checked the leaderboard in a little bit. Dan Reardon will be with us, no relation, in the next hour to update us on what things are, what's going on down there. But Rory McIlroy's having a great tournament so far, and he looks like he can be in contention for a repeat green jacket down there at Augusta National. So that is my entertainment for the weekend. And we have comedian and TV and radio host Jimmy Fallon in town tomorrow. He's a regular on our shows. His radio show airs after mine, Paul, and he's going to be at a great venue here called The Factory tomorrow night, and I'll be out there for that, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'm looking forward to splashing down myself yet this afternoon because
that's even better
was
entertainment.
on that ship that went all around the moon. My name, my daughters, and my wife, we all put our names on the little jump drive that flew around in its zero-G thing.
Oh, that's cool.
So we're in there. Hopefully we'll come back and splash down.
Well, that's the best entertainment, and just everybody should be watching that. I'm a little disappointed. We had the expert from WashU on yesterday. He said he's going to the Cardinals game tonight as well, and he was saying, I hope that they put it, like on the screen.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just for the moment of the splashdown.
Surely they will, right?
Recommend that they do that. Paul, tell folks where they can find your reviews.
SimpleCommonGuy.com.
We'll see you next week. Frank Cusumano is coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we've got some good news, and that is they have cleared the accident on westbound 70 west of the Rock Road. Things are now open, and traffic is hopefully thinning out in that area. It's thinned out fairly rapidly. But eastbound traffic still slowing at 141, and there's a little bit of westbound volume past the airport. Now, westbound 40 is slow. This is Kings Highway out through McCausland. Eastbound is slow on either side of 170. And then westbound a little bit slow at 270. Then approaching Highway N out through the 70 split. Now, 55 is looking good in the city, a little slow at Z and the construction zone there. And if you're headed into Illinois, it's not that bad. It looks especially good on the Poplar Street Bridge. But eastbound 64 slows at 157. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Triton Exteriors. We take care of your home. It's that simple. Triton-STL.com. Home improvement projects can come with a lot of headaches. We save you time by offering packaged services that are easy to understand and based on your needs. We take care of the details so you don't have to. Visit us at Triton-STL.com. That's Triton-STL.com.
I feel like we earn a master's, if not a PhD, in technology when we visit every week on Tuesdays with George Rosenthal, Tech Talk Tuesdays. We started that a couple of months ago. He's fantastic. Now, his regular gig is not being on my radio show one time a week. He has ThrottleNet. He's one of the founders of ThrottleNet.com. It's an IT company that's been in St. Louis for over 25 years, focusing on security strategy and keeping companies productive, because we haven't had one of these that has made the news. They're still happening out there. Companies don't like to really brag when they get a data breach or a ransomware attack. No ThrottleNet client has ever paid a ransom because their cybersecurity works. And they're the only IT company that backs their cybersecurity with a $500,000 cyber protection program. And what George will tell you, even as a business owner, you hope you're not this person, they don't really know. You might not know where you stand, so they're going to offer you a free baseline IT security audit, and that's real easy to access. ThrottleNet.com/971 takes you right to that part of the website that ThrottleNet will give you that baseline IT security audit, and then you're going to want to hire them. And they don't lock you into contracts at all as well. They're experts here in St. Louis. They've done it for a long time. ThrottleNet.com.
Hey, it's Annie. Grab your clubs and head to Tamarack Golf Course on Friday, May 22nd for the St. Clair County Republicans annual golf tournament. Shotgun start, 18 holes, carts, contest, lunch, and great prizes. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
We all know spring weather means spring storms. Mark Cox here for Hanson's Tree Service. Now's the time to remove any dead or hazardous trees over your home before the spring storms bring them down. It's a great time to have an arborist come out and put together a plant health care program for your trees and shrubs. You can also order mulch and compost directly from the website and have it delivered to your driveway. Just go to hansonstree.com Again, that's Hanson'sTree.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, it is Masters weekend. Dan Reardon is going to join us in about an hour with his update from Augusta National. I think we're trying to get Frank Cusumano on the line right now, and I'm not sure we have him. We don't have him quite yet, Ethan? You're giving me a head shake like we ain't going to have him. Is that what
No, we are. We're just
okay.
having some technical difficulties.
At this station, we're having technical difficulties?
There's a first for everything,
shock.
Mark. There's a first for everything.
You can't. There's no way that we have technical difficulties at this radio station.
Well,
right.
it was a record-breaking amount of time. I think it was 2 days since our last technical difficulty.
God. All right,
so,
well, here's if you don't want to hear this, if you've recorded this and you don't want to hear the Masters stories of the day, there has been some movement on the leaderboard. I'll tell you who's looking really good and kind of moving up right now is Tommy Fleetwood. I also have to give credit to Dan Reardon because he said Brooks Koepka, watch out for him. Now, Brooksy did not end quite as low as maybe he was trending. At one point, he was looking like he was going to have a real great round. He's 3 under at this point. Shane Lowry's sitting at -4 right now as I kind of count down in reverse order. But Rory's on top, -8. Boy, he's looking like he's got no pressure on him to repeat as Masters champion. I heard him talking about this in the post interviews yesterday because, last year all of the attention was on Rory. It always is at the Masters because he had never won the green jacket and, to complete the career Grand Slam. Well, he's looking so relaxed. His irons are just incredible. He did not have the best 7 holes to start yesterday. He got in trouble in the pine straw, got in trouble. He hooked one shot around some trees that was just incredible. It's the kind of shot that amateurs take, and we're in water or in the woods deep, and it's a guy that a professional could take a shot like that and land on the green. But Sam Burns, who held the co-lead with Rory yesterday, is sitting at 6 under right now. His round is complete. Yeah, he's in second.
Okay.
Patrick Reed, well, there's 3 ties for second right now.
Okay.
Patrick Reed, who I hate, who just came back over from LIV, is really playing well. He's at 6 under. He still has 2 holes. He's on the course right now. And I mentioned Tommy Fleetwood has had an incredible day. He's had, I believe, he started the day even. He is 6 under. So 2 holes remaining. He could be tied before the afternoon's up, but 17 and 18 are certainly hard holes. And then Justin Rose, this guy is incredible. Man, he just doesn't go away. He competes every big tournament. He's sitting at -5 right now. I think he was sitting really, really comfortably last year at the Masters as well. And then Jason Day. We don't hear a lot from Jason Day, to be in the top 10s or top 20s in most of the big tournaments, but he's sitting at -5 right now. I think we have Frank on the line. You're probably on a golf course right now, if I had to guess. How are you?
Good to be with you. I just got a new phone yesterday. It's a little too technical for me to operate. I'll learn.
That's okay. Well, let's start with the Blues. They're finished, right? That's Caputo. The nail has been finally put in the coffin.
Yes, it's done. And the only question is, does this 13-5-3 finish give them the optimism that, hey, we're really close. We don't have to do too much in this offseason. Or was this an aberration and we're a team that's not going to make the playoffs where basically everybody makes the playoffs in the NHL, including the Vianney Golden Griffins? Do they think about moving Colton Parayko? Do they think about moving Jordan Binnington? They got a lot of tough decisions to make, and I think a lot of it's going to be based on how they determine what this stretch meant to them after the All-Star break.
Frank, do you have any sort of beat as to, the difference between what we saw at the end of last year, the transition into this year? Like, is there any idea as to what needs to change in order to make sure that we don't have a third straight season next year of just a pitiful start?
Well, do you remember that thing with George Costanza on Seinfeld when he did just the opposite and everything worked out? Remember that?
We talked about it yesterday.
Oh, you did? Oh, my goodness. Well, I mean, they should think about everything they did in the last training camp. Do the complete opposite. Take your shot. Now, look, what happened in the beginning of the season was their goaltenders were not razor sharp. In fact, they were bad, particularly Jordan Binnington. He got a lot better. Hofer became a really good goaltender, and the guys playing in front of him didn't play well either. But you do have the maturation of Jimmy Snuggerud. You have some young defensemen like Broberg and Mayu who you can build around. I got a feeling it's not going to be like, hey, let's tear it down and do it like the Cardinals. I think they are close, and I just think they'll do a little tinkering.
All right, speaking of the Cardinals, they're back at home tonight. I'm going to the game. My daughter's doing the national anthem with her school, Stanton Singers. They're playing the Boston Red Sox, or half the team is former Cardinals, right? So, look, they've been fun to watch the first couple of weeks. It hasn't been perfect. The bullpen, which was supposed to be strong, not quite as strong. But how about Jordan Walker right now, the guy that we've been waiting for, right?
It's just awesome to see. Imagine, like, Mark, when you're 21 and 22 years old and you're beginning your career and you are a failure. Now, the only people that know that would maybe be the people in your office or maybe your family. But with Jordan Walker, everybody in the country knew. He was on baseball's biggest stage. He didn't fail for a month. He didn't fail for 3 months. He failed for 2 solid years.
Yeah.
And to come back the way he has, I know it's only 12 games, but he leads the league in almost every statistical category. So it's one of the best redemption stories in St. Louis sports. Interesting series. Boston not playing well. We're going to miss Sonny Gray, who has pitched well. We'll see Wilson Contreras. Big start tonight, Mark, because Dustin May is going to get the ball. He has not pitched well. He's had 2 horrible starts in a row. We need him to pitch well.
And on McGreevy, he had a pretty decent outing, but what's up with his velocities down a little bit, right? Well, I think we lost him.
We did lose
him.
We did lose him.
Okay.
Well,
Ethan, you can address that
well,
question.
yeah, we'll try and get him back.
Blame Frank's new phone.
Yeah, I think that's what I heard, the little beep. I was like, uh-oh.
I know, right?
Well, yeah, so the thing with Michael McGreevy, I think, is a little bit concerning. There is this StatCast stat called Stuff Plus, and basically tells you whose quality of velocity mixed with movement is the best and worst in the league. And through the first 3 starts of the year, Michael McGreevy's stuff stat is the lowest in Major League Baseball. So it's a mixture of his fastball. His fastball is dropped 3 miles per hour in average velocity from last year.
I thought it was only like 1.5.
No, it's down to
that's significant.
So there is some concern as to what exactly where has it gone.
Right.
Here's the good thing is that it's early in the year and he's still finding a way to put up solid lines. So it's one of those things of, okay, you'd like for him to be able to find that, but part of baseball is being able to adjust on the fly. If you remember last year, Sonny Gray's velocity dipped off a lot at the beginning of 2025, but he was able to pitch through it until that velocity returned. Sometimes you're not always going to have your best stuff. It's how do you adjust? How do you find ways to put up good numbers even when your stuff isn't at its best?
But we need him as in that rotation, right?
Certainly. Well, he's the number 2 in that rotation for a reason. Now, I don't think that they look at him, down the road when the Cardinals are ready to be a World Series contender as a potential number 2. They probably see him long term as more of a back of the rotation 4 or a 5, but certainly throwing 90 miles per hour is not going to help you whatsoever. He's going to need to find that eventually. So right now, it's short term, he's been figuring it out, but long term, he's going to need to find it again.
Hey, well, by the way, one story Cardinals related that we didn't really talk about and maybe flew under the radar, but I remember Scott Jennings and Joe Arnold when they went to spring training, maybe it was even 2 years ago because they typically go, they were just raving about Packy Naughton. And that poor kid, he just got hurt again. He is a great pitcher, right? There's a lot of real potential there, but he keeps getting hurt.
Throwback to 2022 when he was one of the Cardinals' best lefty relief pitchers. He had a great year. Early in 2023, had some issues, ended up having long-term forearm issues. He had Tommy John at one point. He missed almost all of 23. He missed all of 24. He missed all of 25. And had a great spring training.
Right.
People were excited. It's a feel-good story.
And then the first week.
He had been injured for so long, Mark, that he had gotten his realtor's license and was doing that on the side to be able to make money.
Oh, my goodness.
So now we're thinking, oh, man, he's going to be back. He's going to contribute this year. 3 pitches into one of his first appearances of the year. cradles his elbow.
He knew it
and
right away.
Left, he knew right away. And
unbelievable.
I haven't heard an update, but you have to
not good.
imagine that is not an encouraging sign. So
All
really,
right.
really tough for Pacquiao.
Yeah, really, I feel so bad for the kid because he's done everything he can, and then it's like the Sam Bradford syndrome.
You
or
go
whatever.
through it so many times.
Yeah,
This is if he ends up blowing his elbow up and that's in a fourth year. How long until he just calls it quits?
Think about what Frank just said there about Jordan Walker, but this kid is got to be tortured because how do you mentally say, oh my God, here we go again, right? Anyway, we'll hopefully hear his name in the future. Got to take a break. We're coming back with Brian Kilmeade after the top of the hour.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We had really light traffic this morning, and that's continuing this afternoon. Westbound 70 a little slow at 141, and a moderate volume in pockets out through 70. 64 is Kings Highway out through McCausland. Eastbound and slowing east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. And then it doesn't really slow until approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard. If you're headed into Illinois, we look good on the bridges downtown. 55 is in good shape. Yeah, not bad out there right now. This report is brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Midwest winters take a toll on your garage door, and Overhead Door Company can come out and perform their 26-point tune-up. Now, this is on your garage door and opener. Just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Enter now at overheaddoorstlewis.com.
Well, this is one of those days because I was watching the Masters so much, I didn't really pay attention to the market. So let's just test this out real quick. I want to talk about Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group. Yeah, the Dow down about 269 today. It's been wonky, because of the war and everything that's going on. This is a great time. We'd love to get together with you on Tuesday, the 28th of this month, and a couple of Tuesdays at the DoubleTree in Chesterfield at 6:30 p.m. This is the second in 5 seminars that we do with Thomas and the team. We used to do these at Plaza Frontenac. We've moved a little further west, not too far out. It's a great location. We were there a couple of months ago. And if you want a strategy that's going to make sure that your money lasts through retirement, you're going to want to be there that night. You can always go one-on-one into the office and meet with the team directly. But if you want to stop wondering, when can I afford to retire, how much income I will have in retirement, this is the time to do it with the team from the Retirement Advisory Group. We'd love to see you there. All you have to do is register. These are free events. It's easy. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com for Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group.
Bringing a data center online takes more than equipment. It takes precision. Graybar helps customers predict, stage, schedule, deliver, and verify every step of the build with critical products that are available now. From networking and wireless to critical power and testing tools, our teams help you reduce downtime risk and keep projects on track. Speed, scale, ready now. Yep. Graybar does that.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
Hey, it's Annie. Grab your clubs and head to Tamarack Golf Course on Friday, May 22nd for the St. Clair County Republicans annual golf tournament. Shotgun start, 18 holes, cards, contest, lunch, and great prizes. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
Fox News, then Brian Kilmeade, right back.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Cautiously optimistic. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News.
We have a good team, and they meet tomorrow. We'll see how it all works out.
President Trump moments ago as he heads to Virginia for a fundraiser as Vice President J.D. Vance leads a delegation to Pakistan for meetings with Iran on a permanent ceasefire.
He's still keeping his options all on the table, saying that all the ships and the troops and the ammo and the weaponry is staying in place. It's being reloaded, so to speak, so that if things go south, they can pick up this fight anytime they want. But he is signaling some optimism. What's unclear right now is whether the Iranians are trying to move the goalposts again. There was this whole debate over whether Lebanon was involved or was part of the ceasefire.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. President Trump said earlier today he asked Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to dial back the strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon, though Israel targeted a state security office in Lebanon's south today. And Israeli forces say they hit about 10 rocket launchers that had fired towards Israel. Splashdown a little more than 2 hours away for the Artemis II astronauts, with NASA scientists making slight adjustments to its path ahead of re-entry.
When the unmanned Artemis I mission returned to Earth back in late 2022, engineers noticed excessive charring on the Orion spacecraft's heat shield. Replacing the heat shield on Artemis II would have delayed the mission significantly. Instead, NASA decided to put Orion on a steeper, shorter re-entry path to reduce the time the shield is exposed to extreme heat. Company officials with NASA's prime manufacturing contractor for Orion agree.
Fox's Jonathan Serri at Johnson Space Center in Houston. Orion is expected to splash down off the coast of San Diego. Wall Street stocks ended the day mixed ahead of this weekend's talks with Iran. The Dow lost 269, the Nasdaq plus 80. America is listening to Fox News.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Let's expect some unsettled weather over the next couple of days, but it's a springtime pattern, so we're going to have a lot of dry time. Clouds dominate this evening, a couple of scattered showers, non-severe thunder showers late tonight, but any rain overnight is limited. It's mainly holding off to our south. 53 for the low. Saturday, mix of clouds and sunshine, nothing more than a spotty shower or thunder shower. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Ethan's getting Brian Kilmeade on the line. He's going to join us here. Then Tim Sommer, we're going to talk some music stuff. Fred, you know, I'm mentioned I'm going to the baseball game tonight.
Yeah.
And Becky and Alexa are coming down separately with some friends. And, you know, Alexa, I mentioned, is going to do the national anthem.
Right.
So with
Stanton.
With Stanton Stickers, right?
Right.
It's not just her doing it. But we are here at Park Pacific in our office, right, at 13th and Olive. And typically, because I'm cheap, right, I'd walk from the station to the ballpark, and then I would walk back. There's not a chance in hell that I would do that with my wife and daughter with the current climate in downtown St. Louis. Not a chance, because it's not safe for me. I just do it because I'm cheap. But I went to the QT before my show because I don't ever, maybe you have cash. You have a George Costanza wallet too. I don't ever have cash, right? So I went and got cash for parking. Some of these places, they take Venmo now. But I'm going to go park down closer to the stadium because I can't trust that. That's sad. And by the way, that's just not manufactured. I've taken that walk. I've taken the walk during the day. And, you know, it's been somewhat scary at times. Why do you think Channel 5 left down there? Because it's not a safe area. I'm sure there was more to it than that. But, you know, that just makes me sad that I can't even walk to the damn stadium 4 or 5 blocks or whatever it is.
Yeah, and it's not so much the concern walking to the stadium
It's
in daylight.
back.
It's coming back.
Yeah, it's coming back.
The scary part.
Right, absolutely. All right, I think we got Mr. Kilmeade on the line for Friday afternoon. Brian, how are you?
Oh, good, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. Expectations on the supposed peace talks in Islamabad with J.D. Vance. Look, I guess there has been a new condition by one of the senior Iranian officials today saying that they want the release of Iran's blocked assets. This was on a post on X. It's hard for me to believe that you can have any serious negotiations with anyone related to this regime. But what are your expectations?
Exactly what you just said. I mean, I expect zero.
Yeah.
And I think that for J.D. Vance is not where it says, I have to make this work. It was my idea, and the talks are on my area, in my backyard, and these are my friends. He's not invested. He's invested in doing the best deal possible. If you read the New York Times story, he didn't even want to do this operation,
right.
But I think it could be career defining for him if he can go in and pull it off and let them know you've lost leverage and what it's going to be like, and he's able to get a deal that they follow through in. I mean, man, he'd have the people that he stood up for, these people that didn't want this operation, then he'd have the people that wanted the operation say, "Well, you pulled this out of the fire." So it's a win for him. The bad scenario for JD and for us as a country would be if he goes in and says, "I got this deal done, it's fantastic," and then we look at it and go, "It's not a good deal," and the president gets behind it and then realizes he gave me a terrible deal, and it's going to be obviously the deal that JD Vance cut. So, and you don't see Rubio there, which is interesting.
Yeah, what was the story? Was there a conflict of travel or something like that? You would think that this would take precedent, though. I can't remember if there was a reason offered for that.
No, I didn't hear anything. I heard that JD probably wasn't going to go, and then he's gone and he's leading it. And I'm fine with that because, Steve Woodcock is a good talker, but I actually don't know what he's done productive. I think that the Hamas deal was so impressive. But that Hamas deal was really done by Jared. So I'm not putting anybody down. I appreciate his service, but I just think you need some experience. You need to go there. I've been studying Iran for 40 years. Now I'm going to use my negotiating tactics that I learned in real estate. Do it. But I just see a guy that's great in the private sector, great business person, but really doesn't understand what our problem is with Russia, what the real history is with Iran. Although, so that's what I thought the more experienced Rubio would have, where I feel better with him in there.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Look, you referenced the New York Times piece. I talked about that pretty extensively on the show yesterday. And, obviously it's the New York Times, it's legacy media, but the reporting seemed to be pretty buttoned up and there were not a lot of denials. And if you read that piece, you find that really there wasn't anyone that was telling Trump that he should do this. Even General Kane was saying, look, we got to be careful here. He even brought up the issue of depleting our military resources. Now, everyone then eventually, they defer to the commander-in-chief because he's the guy that's making the decisions. But that was pretty revealing inside that room with what a lot of people were trying to do and chime in on this particular operation and not be fans of it from the start.
Well, there's a couple of things going on there. What he's saying is that there was political risk, and you had somebody that saw a problem and a vulnerability with our 47-year nemesis. And I think that Pete Hegseth also came off in that article as pretty confident. And, General Kane was wary of it. But I also know there's a lot of people that weren't in that room. They were encouraged by, for example, Admiral Cooper was very confident in the plan. He was not in that room at the time, but he had already briefed the president on what he thought they could do with the plan, but he was not chronicled in what Maggie Haberman wrote up. I'm not a big fan of Maggie Haberman, but
right.
I like the partner, Jonathan. Oh man, I forgot his name, but I'm a big fan of his. So I haven't seen a lot of pushback on it. But you do have a situation where the president's always confident in being able to pull things off, and I still think he made the right move. There's no question about it. What I think that was a bad move is part of the plan. The part of the plan if you secure the Strait, all you'd be focusing on right now is uranium. That's it.
Yeah.
There'll be no economic pressure except for our weapons arsenal. But now there's pressure on the oil because we have not implemented a plan to take the Strait. And that's where I think next time we talk, Mark, we're going to be talking about the president's move to take the Strait. Then it's going to be collecting 1,000 pounds of uranium, and then it's going to be watching over what happens.
Okay, all right, but
in the future.
Let's say that happens. The next time we talk, we're at 8 weeks. Then next time we talk, we're at 9 weeks. Then we're at 10 weeks. And you see my point here. And I don't know. Do you sense? I don't know if you spoke with the president, communicated with him. Do you sense that he's getting impatient here?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
definitely impinged.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why he's going to give it. I mean, if they walk out and, I mean, they're saying some of the things we want Israel to stop hitting Hezbollah. Okay.
Yeah.
Really? So if they say that, and then what you just said about, they just said that, we want all sanctions relief before we even talk. That's when it's over. You're not going to wait 2 weeks. I imagine he's already met with Admiral Cooper, and they said, listen, if this thing falls apart, and JD walks out and says, throws up his hands, we hit Sunday. I don't think we wait a week.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. Brian Kilmeade with us this afternoon. What did you make of this? Happened right before I was on the air yesterday, and I still don't think we have any solid answers with Melania's surprise Epstein denial news conference. That was quite unusual, and she was pretty forceful in what she was saying. Certainly something pissed her off, seemingly maybe a piece that's being put together. But you know anything more about that at this point, Brian?
No, and we had her chief of staff, he's a great guy, Mark Beckman, on today, and he had no answer, and, I don't think he was going to reveal, hey, I got news, Maggie Haberman's book is going to come out, and so he's not going to say that, but why she called a press conference. Now, in my notes for Thursday's show, it said Melania will have a press conference in the afternoon. I didn't know what it was about. It's just one of those things I just took notes on. So that wasn't a surprise. The content of which, by all accounts, caught the president by surprise. All accounts.
Really?
Nobody said differently. And evidently he's not happy. I mean, why would he be happy? Why was he? Remember, he was furious at Lutnick, who brought up how, I knew the president knew Jeffrey Epstein. The president was furious with him.
Right.
For bringing that up. And then, of course, Lutnick ends up, he's the one who goes to the island. So that was bizarre. But I don't really think that he's been public that much since then. So, so the president's got to be ticked off. I'm not going to get into marriage situations, but that is pretty substantial when you start talking about Jeffrey Epstein again.
Yeah, I was rather shocked. We are super into Artemis 2 here on the Mark Reardon Show. It's been exciting. I can't believe it's almost over. We got to keep our fingers crossed for a really, real nice splashdown tonight. Brian, I remember some of these when I was a kid, but it has been really awesome to watch this mission take place.
It's been fantastic. I'm heartened. I've always been intrigued by it. And I was just stunned. When you look back, you keep reading things where I love that they brought the flag from Apollo 18. I thought to myself, did we have one? And the answer is no. We haven't had Apollo 18. Why? They canceled the mission for a lack of interest, and they decided to invest in Skylab and eventually the space shuttle. They said we're going to go focus on lower Earth orbit, which we did do. But I did not know the public sentiment was bored with it. Can you believe that? Can you imagine hearing that we're on the moon and not wanting to watch it? 2 years from now, 3 years from now, but that's what's the story in the 70s. So the Apollo 18 was set to go up. They canceled it. So they said, would you do me a favor when you go into Artemis 2? Would you bring that around the moon for us? So that's a nice little hint at how crestfallen the astronauts were by having being canceled like that.
Man, I've just flashed back to maybe 1979 because you mentioned Skylab. I have not heard a reference to Skylab, Brian Kilmeade, in a long, long time. I'll tell you that.
It was crashing down to Earth in Australia.
Yeah. There was a DJ that I kind of, grew up with named Steve Dahl in Chicago, and he used to do parody songs, and he did the Rolling Stones. It was Shadoobie, Skylab. I can't sing, but it was really fun, and that kind of came back in my mind here. What do you have coming up on Sunday Night Show?
Well, we're going to be live, and I know Mike Waltz, we're going to be, because of these talks, Mike Waltz will definitely be with us. I might go to NASA. They offered us a great guest. I might go there depending on the splashdown on today and Saturday. Mm-hmm. And we got Stephen Miller to break. We're talking about immigration, but he is, and the fraud. He's going to be joining us. I got Jimmy Fallon is going to be on with us, and a really impressive commentator. Two of them, Brylan Hollyhand, who was mentored by Charlie Kirk, young guy, very impressive, and Lydia Moynihan. And I just want to talk about this whole thing that I think you're going to be heartened by. Instead of waiting for a country to ban social media, do you realize kids are starting to ban it themselves?
No.
There's this cartoon about them putting their phones in, realizing they're being manipulated. They are rebelling against the algorithm. And I just love it. And these two 30-somethings are going to weigh in. One 20-something, one 30-something are going to weigh in.
Yeah, that's fascinating. By the way, Mr. Fela, here tomorrow night at the Factory. You've been there. I asked him the other day, I said, do you have a warm-up? Because he's doing the comedy thing, and he said that me and Mark Cox are the warm-up. So I am not daring any comedy on stage tomorrow night. I'm just doing an introduction. I want to make that clear.
Jimmy's the best. But save your A game when we come back.
Yes. And Brian's coming back in November, and tickets are on sale right now. Thank you so much for this week. Are you a Masters guy by any chance or not?
Not a big golf guy, but certainly impressed with what I've seen so far.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. All right, hey, have a great weekend. I appreciate it.
Go get him, Mark.
A rare Friday appearance from Mr. Kilmeade. On the topic of the Masters, we'll get an update from Dan Reardon down live at Augusta National a little bit later this hour. Before we get to Tim Sommer, we're going to have a little fun with music, as we often do on Fridays. Trump had a very brief media availability before he jumped on Air Force One, just a couple of, I don't even think it was more than an hour ago, and here's what he said.
So it's JD and Steve and Jared. They have a good team, and they meet tomorrow. We'll see how it all works out.
You're not going to let them toll the strait, are you? I mean, it's international.
No, we're not going to let that. It's international water. If they're doing that, nobody knows if they're doing that. But if they're doing that, we're not going to let that happen.
What would a good deal look like for you?
No nuclear weapon, number one. You know, I think it's already been regime change, but we never had that as a criteria. No nuclear weapon. That's 99% of us.
Yeah, I do not hold out high hopes for any progress, but he did mention that Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and JD will be doing the negotiations in Pakistan. We'll see what happens.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
This is one of those things that happens very, very rarely, but it happened right now, and there's not a whole lot I can do about it. Audience, I'll just kind of explain it to you. When I sit here and do my show, I hit the buttons for the traffic, and sometimes Sue's not in here, and I don't notice that. So hopefully someone is noticing that I hit the button for the traffic and that Sue is not in here, because I need Sue. Is Sue coming? Sorry, that threw me off. Sorry about that.
On the roads, I'll tell you what, it has been nice out there in general. We've had a couple of issues, but nothing too terrible. And westbound 70 right now is a little slow at 141, eastbound as well, but that's about it. There's some moderate volume at K and at Wentzville. 64, it's slowing, but it's Kings Highway out through McCausland, so the usual. And then a little bit slow before you get to 141, and one more time at Prospect. Now, southbound 270 is in good shape. 55 looks good. Now, on the Illinois side, eastbound 70 slows at 64. At 64 westbound, a little off the pace at 159, but that's it. We're in pretty good shape. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Well, I want to talk about MasterCars, Inc. because I love Alex and Gary Rosenberger. They've become friends over the years. I've known them, I think, more than a decade, which is kind of frightening just because time goes by so quickly. But I have done lots of business with them. We sold MasterCars, Inc. They're in Granite City. Used cars, new car caliber. We had a beautiful Jeep Grand Cherokee, and when my kids kind of went off to college, we weren't using it as much, and they gave us a great price because we kept it in great condition. I still miss that car, but you could source a vehicle from MasterCars Inc. You could say, I'm looking for this particular vehicle. Maybe it is a Jeep Grand Cherokee, or you can just see what they have on the lot right now. Now, they have everyday cars for you. I've bought a car from my son off the MasterCars lot. They have lots of cool cars, weekend cars, Corvettes. They also specialize in Harleys, but they're so easy to deal with. You're not going to feel any pressure. They just really want to get you in the best vehicle for your situation. You can tell them, I always use, we have a Toyota 4Runner, and I use that as an example. I've had a couple over the course of my life. I want a 4Runner, tell Alex and Gary, 5,000 miles, 10,000 miles, 20,000 miles, this color, these features. They'll get it here to St. Louis. You'll buy it. They can get you financed. It's a great experience. MasterCars Inc. in Granite City. MasterCarsInc.com.
One of the biggest gifts you can give your family is peace of mind. That's why I trust and recommend Civia Law. They've helped so many families, including mine, right here in our community with estate planning, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and elder law issues. I've seen how stressful it can be when a loved one passes without a plan. Families are left confused, sometimes tied up in probate court, and it can cost so much in time and money. But with Civia Law, you don't have to worry about that. They'll walk you through everything and even deliver your completed documents in just 2 weeks from your first appointment. And here's something special just for you. Mention the Annie Fry Show, and the first 10 listeners right now will get a free strategy session. That's a $300 value. 833-995-WILL. Just be sure to mention the Annie Fry Show when you call. Civia Law has 7 convenient locations across Illinois and Missouri, including in Edwardsville, Swansea, and Creve Coeur. Secure your legacy and protect the people you love. Call 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL, or visit civialaw.com.
Here's something I run into a lot with younger homeowners, and happened to be with my little boy. He was looking at purchasing homes. This house had a 20-plus-year-old furnace and air conditioner. And, of course, my advice was never buy a house with that old of an air conditioner. You will be buying a new one. And he goes, well, how much does a new one cost? For his size home, told him figure tens of thousands to over $20,000. If you're looking at a house, my personal opinion is make sure it's a newer unit. If not, request buyers to put in a newer unit. It makes it easier on your 15 or 30-year mortgage if it's included in the loan. Just my piece of advice for that. But if you're hearing this after the fact and you do need a new air conditioner, sorry to hear that, but call me, Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers. It is 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
There is a documentary currently running on Netflix. It's one of the top streamed shows in the nation, has been for a couple of weeks, on the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And our dear friend, music expert Tim Sommer, journalist, former record executive, he signed Hootie and the Blowfish with us this afternoon. You are featured, a young Tim Sommer, featured in that documentary, aren't you?
Yes, the documentary is a wonderful tribute to one of the band's founding members, a guitar player who died very, very young named Hillel Slovak. And as it happened, simultaneously with the beginning of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Hillel Slovak was in another band called What Is This, another Los Angeles band, a popular Los Angeles band. And for a little time, around 1983-84, they were doing better than the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they had a major label deal before the Red Hot Chili Peppers did. Anyway, for this wonderful thing called a cable access television in New York.
Yes.
And anyone old enough to remember cable access probably doesn't want to talk about it around their kids. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, so there was this talk show on cable access television, and they brought me in to do some music interviews. And in 1984, I interviewed this band. What Is This? I interviewed 2 of the members, Elaine Johannes and Hillel Slovak. And lo and behold, I was 22 years old at the time.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, 42 years later, I start getting these messages. Tim, do you know you're in the new Red Hot Chili Peppers documentary? Tim, you have a really prominent scene in the new Red Hot Chili Peppers movie. So I go and watch it, and it turns out that they've taken a whole big section from this interview I did for Cable Access in 1984 with Hillel Slovak, and it was explained to me that it was a key. I asked Hillel Slovak. This is a question I asked him, and as I said, Hillel was the founding guitarist of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
See, and I didn't know that part. That's interesting to me because I had no idea about this, and candidly, I've not watched the documentary, so I'm behind, but this is fascinating. Continue. I'm sorry, Tim.
Hillel Slovak, many of our greatest bands, many of our best bands, many of our most famous bands have these wonderful stories where important figures helped form the band and then disappeared for one reason or another. In Hillel Slovak's case, it was because of a heroin overdose when he was very young. Many bands have these stories where an important member leaves or dies or what have you before the band becomes very famous, and that was the case with Hillel Slovak. So anyway, to speed this along, in this interview in 1984, I asked Hillel, who at that time was not in the Red Hot Chili Peppers, he had left the band. I asked him, do you think you made the right decision? And he pauses, and you can see him thinking. And the other member of the band I interviewed said in the contemporary interview, said in an interview done now, says it was at that moment, I saw something in Hillel's face which indicated that he thought he made the wrong decision.
Wow.
And soon he left What Is This and went back to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. But anyway, if you want to see Tim Sommer in 1984 when he was 22 years old, and if you want to see a wonderful documentary that isn't so much, it is about the birth of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but it's also a tribute to their friend, Hillel Slovak, who was a founding member of the band.
I've never been like super into the Chili Peppers. I've seen them live several times and really good live. I've met them. Like, this is a weird story. I went to Columbus, Ohio, and I think we drove to Cleveland. I had a friend that was working in radio, and we saw the bill was the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Pearl Jam opened up. The Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then Billy Corgan, what's his name, the band from Chicago.
Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, so that was the they were really young, and I remember meeting Flea at the time, and Anthony Kiedis, who's about 4'2", and they're I saw them more recently, maybe about 8-9 years ago here, and they were excellent. But I'm interested in the documentary for sure.
You don't have to be a fan of the band to appreciate this documentary, to appreciate the fact that it honors their friend, who was, interestingly enough, an Israeli-American. And back then, and still to this day, very few musicians in prominent bands are Israeli. And he was an Israeli-American, born in Israel, with a fairly heavy Israeli accent. But it's really a tribute to the way bands get started and the wonderful characters who assemble bands.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Well, I'm going to watch it for sure. Hey, I haven't even had time to do this yet, and I'm disappointed. Did you watch Band on the Run, the Paul McCartney doc?
I'm dying to. I haven't.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something interesting. I am a legitimate, and I hope I don't offend a lot of people by saying this or make them question my taste. I am a legitimate Wings fan. I think Wings are a very underrated band when you see them on their own, when you examine their career. So I'm very eager to see that documentary.
I am right there with you. Look, I'll be completely honest with you, just because of my musical evolution. I was a much, much bigger fan than Paul McCartney and Wings than I was the Beatles, because I was a Zeppelin and Rolling Stones, Tom Petty, and I just was more drawn to Wings at that time.
Yeah.
But I've absolutely come to appreciate the brilliance of the Beatles, but I was a bigger fan of Wings at the time. Maybe I'm Amazed is one of my favorite songs of all time.
And for me, it's the song Rock Show. I love the song Rock Show. I play it over and over and over. But I think the mythologizing, and I don't mean this in a negative way, really, the mythologizing and the martyrdom of John Lennon, and the fact that people are drawn to George Harrison because they're sort of always drawn to an outsider character, has made people downplay what a true genius as a writer, as a musician, as a bass player, as a pioneer,
all those
as a
things.
producer,
Yeah.
Paul McCartney is.
Yep, absolutely. There's no doubt about that.
Just because it's uncool to like someone doesn't mean they're not a bloody genius.
Is that what happens? Is a lot of people don't like McCartney? I guess I'm not dialed into that.
Definitely.
Really?
Definitely.
Just because
he's seen as being the pop face of the Beatles, the one who's not as cool as like John, not as cool as like dour George Harrison. Or
I guess I get that, but I never really sensed.
But he's the cute one.
Yeah. He's still brilliant. Absolutely. By the way, The Rise of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Our Brother Hillel, is the documentary that Tim is featured in. It's on Netflix right now. We're coming back. Hang in there.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Not a bad commute. On the Illinois side, though, we've got some road work going on. So there's a delay on 64 westbound, just a little bit east of 159, and then westbound east of 157. But we look good on the bridge. If you are coming in on the Poplar Street Bridge, it's been so bad for a couple of days. They picked up that road work. But eastbound 70 still slow at 64 due to ongoing road work there. 64, that's a slow go approaching Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound is slow from McKnight through Big Bend. Westbound, there was an accident near Maryville Center and a bit of a slow go. And then it slows again out at Prospect. 70 isn't bad, and we are quiet through North County. We look good on 55 southbound through multiple construction zones. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, let's talk about getting you a little peace of mind here during the spring and summer with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis, because it's going to make sure that your home is powered up at all times. Even if you're out of town, maybe you're at the Cardinals game or away from home, right away it kicks in. These are not portable generators, very high quality, very dependable. You need to do, required maintenance and warranty work, and that's what Generator Supercenter of St. Louis can do for you. A lot of the competitors, candidly, are nothing against electricians or HVAC or plumbing contractors, but they also sell generators. They don't specialize in it. So Generator Supercenter, this is what they do. They sell, they install, they maintain, they monitor Generac automatic standby generators. So again, that means the certified service maintenance and warranty work. The competitors can't really offer that. So this gives you peace of mind. It could be a storm. It could be, ice that brings down power lines. It could be just the failure of the power grid. And you know that that's lurking around the corner because it's happened in other parts of the country and in the world. 314-499-2020. Do me a huge favor. Tell me you heard about it here on 97.1 FM Talk. It's a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
Unemployment can be taxed. Make sure you're prepared for tax time. I'm Ginny Cosola with your Fox Business Tax Tip. Laid off in 2025, you may be facing a big tax bill.
Unemployment benefits are taxable income, and that catches a lot of people off guard.
CPA Dan Geltrude at Geltrude & Company says you could be facing a double hit.
At the federal level, unemployment is fully taxable, and many states tax it as well.
There isn't automatic withholding. You need to specifically request it. And if your unemployment benefits are substantial, you may need to make estimated tax payments. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
If anyone calls or messages you about investing your money and promises quick profits, guaranteed returns, or can't miss opportunities, stop. Don't fall for the call. I'm Denny Hoskins, Missouri Secretary of State. Our office regulates investing and works to protect investors. Call the Missouri Securities Hotline at 800-721-7996 or visit MissouriProtectsInvestors.com. Paid for by the Missouri Investor Education and Protection Fund. This is a public service announcement.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
The summer heat and humidity will be here soon. Is your air conditioner ready? This is Corey with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If your cooling system hasn't been checked to be ready for the warm weather, call Air Comfort Service. AC checks keep your equipment operating at maximum efficiency, prevent repairs, and extend the life of your equipment. For every AC clean and check booked in April, we'll donate a bag of pet food to Open Door Animal Sanctuary in House Springs. Stay in your comfort zone with a cooling system check from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This portion of the show at 5:34, sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
25 years strong. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
This is a band called Mumford & Sons that I like quite a bit. You might be familiar. They got a song out now called The Banjo Song.
On the dark side of the earth, where the creatures are out, I'm a man on the moon.
And I just love this record, Tim Sommer, so much. It's called Prize Fighter, and I had just upgraded a turntable a while back, and my friend Dwayne Boyer, who has a place here called Music for Pleasure, which has all kinds of cool audio equipment, helped me hook this up, and I kind of rediscovered. I'd already been listening to records, you and I have talked about that, but with the better quality, I've really gotten back into just sitting in my record room and listening to entire albums, which has kind of been a lost art to a certain extent because we all go song to song, right?
Yes, to a certain degree. I haven't heard this new Mumford and Sons album, and I like them. I like their sort of weird mix of pub music and folk music, and sort of then they get sort of all sort of hysterical, and it's almost like acoustic punk rock. I like that. But what's happening is younger bands are beginning to pay attention to albums and want to make albums just like we used to listen to albums in the old days. It's as if they're becoming frustrated with the 15-second thumb click culture of Spotify and YouTube, and they're saying, hey, we're music fans. I'm talking about young acts. We're music fans. We grew up loving bands that made real albums. Heck, we want to make stuff like that too. And it's weird. I have not gotten a turntable, and I feel bad about that, though weirdly enough, my stepson, who's 31 years old, does have one. I think younger people have one. People my age, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I should probably get one. But yeah, I'm beginning to appreciate the idea that people are making albums again, and I'm appreciating the albums that people made in the past. I'll also say to you, one of the things that got me back into that mindset was I spent the last couple of years finally, at an advanced age, really getting into classical music and learning the patience of letting something unfold. We grew up with albums. We're coming back to them, and I think that's a wonderful thing. And very soon, I probably will buy a turntable, and I'll probably ask for your help in telling me what I should
and I would like your help in the classical music department, because I love a lot of classical music. I just don't listen to it on a regular basis. And what's interesting, it was the movie Amadeus that got me super into Mozart, and I love that soundtrack. I just find myself I wish I put it on more, and I do have some classical records, some of which are newer, but that is really a music form that I have underappreciated, even though I love a lot of what I hear, certainly from Beethoven, Mozart, and some of the more famous composers.
Right. Like all music, it's about sensation and it's about emotion.
Yes.
And it's about the way it feels coming up from under your feet and the way it feels in your heart. And it's about wrapping you in the experience. There is nothing, and I mean nothing. And I've seen the most beautiful and the most wonderful and the loudest rock and roll concerts in the world and folk concerts in the world. There is nothing, and this is not advertising, no one's paying me for this, there's nothing like hearing an orchestra play live in a hall and hearing that fill the hall.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a beautiful symphony here, too, with Powell Symphony Hall just being renovated.
It's beautiful. I heard something. I was there a couple of weeks ago. It is moving. It's wonderful.
So, Tim, I want to tell you about and I think I've mentioned this to you maybe via text, but my musical obsession right now is someone named Rhode. She is British, and she's a pop star to a certain extent. She had a big hit in the fall. It's called Where's My Husband? You would expect, like, for people who know me, because I'm an alternative rock guy and a rock guy, you might be surprised that I even like a song like this, but I like it because she has so much originality and energy, and she's got horns in this band. I want to play a little flavor of this here. So there's a little rap that goes on here, but she loves horns and percussion, and I've seen her, recordings of her live, like on Jimmy Fallon, and it's mind-blowing. But here's what I loved about it. I bought the vinyl, and it's actually 2 records, and it's unique because she has themes. It's fall, winter, spring, summer, and each side of the record has a different theme, and the songs fit the theme. So it's specifically meant for long-form listening. I mean, that is a record that you should listen to in its entirety.
It's musicians going, we have enough faith in our fans that they're going to stay with us for an experience.
Yeah.
And I know this is something that we'll probably won't get a chance to talk about this time. We'll do it another time. Possibly, Mark, the spiraling, nearly unbelievable price of concert tickets are making people once again appreciate the music they can bring into their home, the music that they can spend $12 on, $18 on, $22 on, instead of spending $2,200 on. Meaning, take Ray. Ray's a good example. You can have an amazing, fulfilling, rich, varied experience with that album, as you just pointed out, and you can probably do it. I don't know the cost. I'm going to say $30 or $29.
$30 or $40 for the record, yeah.
Yeah.
With shipping.
You can have an amazing experience that may inspire you in the future, may even change your life without spending the $4,000 that you will have to spend if you want to go to the Harry Styles.
She's going out, by the way, she's on tour right now, and I'm very strongly thinking about trying to hit one, but she's going out with Bruno Mars in the fall.
Oh, that'll be
I
fun.
really would like to see that. I just love her. I don't know what it is, but that song caught me. It's a brilliant pop song, and then the whole record and her talent is kind of mind-blowing to me. Let's talk about just a couple things, and I do want to talk about the concert prices at some point, but you mentioned something about BTS, and they're kind of blowing up again, right?
Yes, they are.
Play a little music there in the background.
And this is it's a fascinating story that Americans can't really identify with. Each of the band members had to serve mandatory military service.
Oh, that's right.
In South Korea. So the band, had, and there were no exemptions. It's not like your daddy calls up and says, oh, he has, the bone spurs. He can't go. Or there's college deferral. Nothing like that. In South Korea, everybody of that age has to serve in the military. It's sort of like Israel's much the same way.
Right, yeah.
So they were gone for a few years. They were the biggest band in the world, and if you don't think that's true, then you don't know a teenager. You didn't know.
I think they did. I can't remember how many nights they did at Allegiant Stadium, but they did a ton of nights there. And here's what I'll say about BTS, because I don't really know much about them or their music.
They served their military service, and again, I'm still stunned at that, and I'm sort of awed by that because I think the commitment of young people making that investment in their country is stunning. Is very heartwarming in a certain way.
But
now they're finished and they're back and they're ready to retake their throne as the biggest band in the world. And I believe for the second week in a row, they're on top of the Billboard charts.
It's a band that I rolled my eyes at. I'm like, what is this? This Korean pop band. But then I can't remember what show it was. It might have been the Grammys. It might have been another show. I saw them live. They were unbelievable.
Wow.
I thought they were amazing. So I kind of got it when I saw, the live. That kind of was what happened with Ray, too, because I liked the song, but then I saw her do that Where's My Husband on Jimmy Fallon, and it was just so cool, and it was a different version, too.
I'm going to speak to you and Sue from the perspective of someone who used to be a record executive, okay? You can hype something all you want. There are dozens and dozens and hundreds and thousands of bands who get hyped, who people say or record companies say or publicists say, these guys are going to be huge. The fact is, to become that big and stay that big, you have to deliver. You have to put in the sweat. You have to get the right production teams together. You have to make records, and Taylor Swift is a great example of this, by the way. You have to make records. It's number one, make records people want to listen to. Number two, say something on those records that people can identify with, meaning people have to go, I want to be that person, or I want to be with that person, or that person is speaking for me. And number three, you have to get on stage and you have to deliver the goods. And those three things, you cannot fake those things. You cannot buy those things. So when you say you saw BTS and you were like, wow, they deliver, that's why they're on top, and that's why they're still on top.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, we don't have any more time because I got to get a Masters update this afternoon, but it's always great to chat with you. And I'm going to watch that Chili Peppers documentary. I almost pressed go on it last night, but I got a little tired. But I can't wait to see it.
I'm not a big fan of music documentaries. That is a very good one and a very moving one.
Oh, I love music documentaries, and I can guide you into some of the best out there because I love them so much. All right, I'll share some recommendations on docs. You share some classical music recommendations. How about that?
Fantastic.
All right, we'll see you, Tim. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We'll go out with the banjo song here, Mumford & Sons.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
I would start with Ina Kleine, not music, but Mozart. Okay.
All right. I'll try that.
If you are westbound on 70, it looks good. It looks great out of downtown. Now, 64, just some moderate volume, but it's right there at Hampton. Eastbound is slow. as you head toward Big Bend. But westbound isn't bad, just a little slow out at Wentzville. Listen, the Go St. Louis Marathon is tomorrow. So if you happen to be headed toward downtown or in the downtown area, just know there will be road closures. There's so many of them, it's too much to mention. But if you are coming downtown, you might want to take a look online at what will be closed. And there's a little bit of volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Termites cause $5 billion in damage to homes and businesses in the U.S. every year. Call Point Pest Control now at 636-798-0023 and reclaim your space from unwanted pests. That's 636-798-0023. PointPestControl.com.
Well, I think people know by now that the market's been a little rocky lately because of the war. But how do you know you're going to have enough money to retire on? Well, Thomas Helbig and the team at the Retirement Advisory Group, they're going to guide you through that. And we're going to do this in a group setting here. We do these events 5 times a year. This is only the second event of the year, and it's really focusing on how you can create a worry-free retirement. We're going to do this in Chesterfield out there a little bit further west than we usually go because we were at Plaza Frontenac for many, many years doing this. We changed the location just to improve it just a little bit out further west, and Thomas and the team will be there that night along with Mark and Annie and I. And what we want you to do is kind of understand what they do at the Retirement Advisory Group. It's a little different. They have a secret of safely linking to the market, which is going to make sure that you do not lose money in retirement. So check out retirementkey.com. You can register for the event that's coming up on April 28th. There's a tab right on the front of the page, and all you have to do is let us know that you're coming because it's a free event, and we'd love to see you that night. So 2 weeks from this Tuesday in Chesterfield, we'll see you there. Thomas Helbig in the Retirement Advisory Group.
97.1 FM Talk, proud to partner with Missouri Right to Life.
This is Steve Rupp, president of Missouri Right to Life. Join us at our Make Missouri Pro-Life Again banquet with keynote Riley Gaines on May 20th in St. Charles. Go to the Missouri Right to Life website for details.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Mirror Glass and Door, simply the finest when it comes to mirrors, glass, and shower doors. You can't find better quality, better prices, or even better service than at Mirror Glass and Door. Mirror Glass and Door has the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis, full of the latest, most custom designs. Our must-see showroom is conveniently located in Chesterfield Valley. We have the basics all the way up to the elite. Mirror Glass and Door can't be beat.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No pain. Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
For decades, Morgan & Morgan has represented hundreds of thousands of people at their hour of need. Injuries on the job, car crashes, medical malpractice, and nursing home abuse, Social Security claims, dangerous drugs, and dangerous products. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason, and no firm is even close. Then we got to thinking, what if we could prevent these terrible events before they occurred? So we built the AI-powered People Protector. Simply visit peopleprotector.com and type in the product you have questions about before you buy it. Children's toys and accessories, cars, drugs, products, you name it, we got it. With our success, we decided to pay it forward for all of America. Our way of saying thank you for your trust all these years. Morgan & Morgan, protecting America. And if you've already been injured, just visit us at forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
You know, I could lie to you and tell you that I spent a good portion of my day before the show prepping for the show, but that would be dishonest of me, Sue, because what I was doing was watching the Masters on the app. And at this point, as we are joined by Dan Reardon, no relation, down at Augusta National, is this whole tournament this weekend going to be for second place? Because Rory's running away with it right now.
Yeah, Mark, this is a sort of an odd situation in that I was just saying to somebody, if Rory doesn't win now with this lead, he's back to being a Masters disappointment.
I mean, that's ridiculous, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's got a short putt here to get to 12 under. He shoots 31 on the back nine, and he'll be 7 shots clear of the field if he makes this putt. And with 36 holes to play, and as talented as he is there any scenario that tolerates anything other than a win? And yet it is 36 holes.
Well, and we know that this course, let's look at what happened to Rory yesterday for the first 7 holes, because even though he had a great day scoring, he had to recover from some really tough shots, and those could get tougher into the weekend as well. But the thing is that he doesn't have the baggage. He doesn't have the pressure because he won last year. He looks as relaxed as hell. He's having a few problems off the tee, but man, his irons right now, and I guess the putting, I haven't seen this afternoon. But yeah, he just finished up 18. He's minus 12 for the weekend, heading in with a big lead. Sam Burns at minus 6. Patrick Reed, who we all hate, is minus 6. And Justin Rose really had a great. Shane Lowry's up there at minus 5. Tommy Fleetwood. My guys all sucked. That's what I don't even know if they made the cut. What's the cut, Dan? Plus 4?
Plus 4 is the cut. And here's the 2 numbers on Rory. You talked about yesterday. He did not hit a fairway until the 9th fairway. Over the 2 days, he's only hit 13 fairways. Can he do that for 4 days, even with this lead and win the championship? He's had 51 putts over his first 2 days. He's playing off of pine straw. He's playing off of everything other than the short grass, and yet he's got a 7-shot lead.
Yeah, well, he's Rory, and these guys, that's what makes them so good on their recovery, and they can hit those long putts. Have fun this weekend, Dan Reardon. Yay. I'm so jealous. We'll be watching. We'll wrap it up on Monday. I'm expecting, last year, I don't know how it can get better, but I want things to tighten. I won't root against Rory, but I'd like to see some drama on Sunday afternoon, and I don't think that's out of the question at this point.
He's always had one bad round over his 4 days at Augusta.
And he can afford that, though. With that lead, he can afford it. Dan, we'll talk on Monday.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
Well, we're going to hope and pray that everything turns out well in the next 90 minutes or so, because Artemis 2 is just screaming back into our atmosphere. They're going to do a splashdown somewhere near San Diego in the Pacific Ocean at 7:07 Central Time.
I've actually been thinking about entry since April 3rd, 2023, when we got assigned to this mission. And one of the first press conferences, we were asked, what are we looking forward to? And I said, splashdown. And it's kind of humorous, but it's literal as well, that we have to get back.
Hopefully, we've done our best to bring folks together and to make sure that we can be the best that we can be.
The 4 of us are now forged in a friendship that is very unique, and we will cherish this bond that we share for the rest of our lives.
It's so cool when you see them all, and it's such a small little capsule they're in, and they're floating around. They all have smiles on their face. I can't even imagine the experience, but obviously the window here is still pretty narrow, and they have to hit the certainty. But really, it's just crazy what's happening out there right now, and I think we'll talk about it a little bit more on Monday afternoon as well. All right, so have a great weekend.
You too.
I'm off to Busch Stadium to see my daughter and her classmates from Stanton Elementary in the Rockwood School District do the national anthem.
Love it.
In about an hour, and hopefully get a win over the Red Sox tonight as well. We'll talk on Monday afternoon.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Now I have to listen to Night Ranger on my way up.
I love that song, so I had to do it to you.
Westbound 70 looks great out of downtown. Eastbound is a little slow at Forestel, and westbound 64 slows, but it's mainly right at Prospect out through 70. A really nice commute right now. And if you're headed into Illinois, we're fine on the bridges. There's a little volume westbound. But eastbound is just a little slow east of 157. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, I want to talk about Stewart's American Mortgage because you probably, and I've admitted this, that I didn't really know Stewie until recently. I met him at our station's birthday party. Annie has been talking about Stewie for a long time and has a relationship. We started talking. I want and Stewie to be exposed to my audience as well, and it's because he can save you money. Now, you've heard of the bagel loan. I've been very suspicious of this because you hear no fees and all the like that he claims, and then you say, is that possible? It is possible because he does all the loans on his own. He has a very unique way of doing these. He's been in St. Louis for a long time as well. He does all this with Jordan, his son. So they basically do all the loans, and they can save you money. One of the things he'll tell you is don't get a home equity line of credit. That's going to end up costing you. Let's say that you are looking to refi. You don't think you want to because the rates are too high. Well, again, when you do it with Stewie, you have a great opportunity to make sure that you're not paying all those fees that everybody else pays, and you're going to have a great customer service experience, and you're going to get a new low payment and save possibly thousands of dollars over the course of that loan. So get with Stewie today. We give you his cell number. That's how confident we are in the customer service. 314-324-4440. Quick closes, too, as little as 10 days. Stewart's American Mortgage. NMLS number 226715.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Take your lawn from good to great with my friends at Lawn Enforcement. I'm talking expert lawn care services to keep your lawn in order. And here's what they'll do for you. Anybody can mow your grass.